G'day and welcome to On The Esky, an Aussie sports podcast where we like to talk Aussie sport, we like to talk US sport, we just like to talk sport. And today, drink a few Tyler Zeros. The Zeros are back in town. The boys are back in town. Someone did something last week and we had a few brewskis, so that's why we're on the Tyler Zeros this week. Anyways, few weeks in between drinks, in between Tyler Zeros and Jack's Super Crisps. So plenty to get through. A couple of World Cups upcoming, a la Rugby League World Cup, a la T20 World Cup. Australia could win both World Cups. We've had a few warm-up games down under here against the West Indies. England's coming around, old enemy. First game tonight. Getting geared up, really. Getting hot and horny, if you will, for the 2022 T20 World Cup. NRL Grand Final. Bit of a one-sided affair, but we'll break that down. Panthers go 2 in a row. Heartbreak for Parramatta Eels fans. That 1986 drought continues 32 years and counting. Plus the aforementioned Rugby League World Cup. We're 4 games into the NFL season. It goes quick. Quarter of the season down. We'll look back at week 4 and preview week 5. Philly are the only 4-0 team. Soccer, a bloke called Erling Haaland is doing a bit. Arsenal and City sitting pretty happy up there at the top of the EPL table, plus halfway through the Champions League groups. Plus a good one for Revheads. It's Bathurst Sunday. We've got the Japanese Grand Prix in a good viewing time for the casuals like myself. Final round, a little bit of dribble, blah, blah, blah. As always, we have timestamps. It is quite a long podcast. You can skip to the sports that you like or just listen to the whole damn thing. And Carlton Draft, as in Carlton Draft, the Carlton Draft, as in merch, as in stickers, 20% off. You can use the code ESKY, E-S-K-Y, to get yourself some merch from them. Might need to get some summer apparel from the Carlton Draft. Yeah. Boys, we normally kick off this show by shouting a beer. We've been away a few weeks, so we're doing double shouts. Everyone's picked out a few, or a whole soccer team, or a nation of about 38 people.
Can't be stingy with the beers.
So it's not shout, round. It's a round. It's shout a pint. It's shout a long neck, if you will. It's shout a couple beers. And Sean, the man on my left, how are you? How's your time off been? Off the podcast, that is. And I suppose your actual day job.
Yes.
And who are you shouting a couple beers to?
First, stick with the cousin, with family. Tommy Berry getting traded and signing with the Suns, 3-year deal over there to hopefully go straight into their forward line and get some good play time. Family all happy. So a little beer for him. I think he's going house shopping when he gets back from Bali, which will be this week. So
down the coast,
which we've said make sure you get some extra bedrooms so you can have some visitors occasionally.
Holy!
So we'll have most of South Queensland signed up by the end of this. So
how's he going to go living away from his older brother? He's been roommates with Jared for quite some time now.
True. And the only issue is he can't kind of stay there because there's other lions staying there as well. So it's a lion pack, as you will.
Yeah, pack of lions.
Yes.
Led by pride of lions. I was thinking it's not a pack.
It's not a pack. No, that's a wolf.
That's a pack of dogs. Pack of weak-gutted dogs. I was wondering, is there one lion in that pride? Is it Jared with his mane? Is he and then a bunch of lionesses just doing all
the hanger-offers,
doing all the housework and that, and just taking down the occasional wildebeest.
Definitely. So, big congrats to him. And then also I wanted to shout a beer out to the younger Sue brother. Is it Nikita, who won last night in very convincing fashion.
Third round?
Yeah, dominated throughout. Barely got touched. And keeping his charge as well for title fights going as well. So the Sue brothers is where it's at for Australia boxing at the moment. Great to follow them, and another dub as well for the younger brother. So shout out to you too.
Caught the highlights this morning, courtesy of KO. Absolutely pieced him up. I will shout a beer. I will shout 2. The first of which will be going to Eliud Kipchoge. For those who are unaware of this fella, he is the pretty much the GOAT of marathon running. He broke his own marathon world record in Berlin 2 weekends ago. It's the 4th time he's won the Berlin Marathon. He ran 2 hours, 1 minute, 09 seconds. That's 30 seconds faster than his previous marathon world record. I'll break it down for you. That is 2 minutes, 52 seconds per kilometre. That is 21 kilometres per hour. That is 17 seconds per 100 metres for 42.1 kilometres. I challenge anyone to go set their local treadmill down the gym. Game? What's a game? Set one of those things to 17 to 21 k's per hour and see how long you can keep that up. Unbelievable effort there from Kipchoge. Don't know if he drinks beer. Could use one. I don't think the gut on him's looking too bad. I don't think one beer's going to hurt too much. So enjoy.
It'll go straight through.
Straight through.
I think he'd be a little bit of a lightweight.
I'd say so. I'd say so. A lightweight, both figuratively and metaphorically. We don't talk much racing, but it's springtime. It's October. The footy's finished. It's spring carnival. Feels other than La Nina and the wettest, fucking year of all time.
Oh yeah.
But
tell me about it.
But Winks, the great mare, she foaled this week, and the foal made it. She actually foaled last year, but the poor thing didn't make it. So given birth to a healthy filly, and the number one Winks lover of all time, Bruce the Goat McAvaney, on Seven's coverage yesterday of the horse racing, said he called his daughter and said she has company. Bruce has had another daughter. So I did do a bit of research. It wasn't started by Bruce. It was started by Coolmore stud Piero out of the Chris Waller Coolmore studs. And I imagine when it goes up for sale, it'll go for a handsome bit of coinage, I'd imagine. So I don't know who gets...
7 figures easy.
No, 6. I'll say 6.
High sixes?
Half at least. Yeah, half. Pretty rare for a racehorse to go for more than that, because sometimes they spend $500,000 and they end up being dirts. Yeah. And Winks herself, I think not that expensive, so hard to pick. But the pedigree is going to be there for the young foal, and Bruce was up and about yesterday. So I think this beer goes to Bruce, not to Winks. Before Peter get your knickers in and out. Marks, down the end, that was a lot to process. How's your week been?
Not too bad. Didn't really get up to too much. Just sort of traveled down. Had a couple of days down the coast. Just chilled out. Went whale watching.
Nice.
You see any whales?
Bannisters. A little bit. It was the roughest sea that the company had been out there.
He's setting me up for one here.
He's setting me up for one. I'm avoiding that one. Saw some dolphins.
I was sitting on the beach watching those waves come in because I saw the weather and I was like, sucks to be James.
It was so bad.
What were you doing down the coast?
I was on a honeymoon, actually.
Hey,
forgot about that one. I got married last week.
There we go.
Commiserations.
I think I fucked this up. I think I said maybe you got married right at the top of the show, but anyways, here's what it is. Join the club. Join the club. We're all married off.
We are all taken.
Betrothed you for 5 Facebook likes.
Yeah.
One subscribe, and she was all yours.
That's it. Great catch up, great celebration with the family.
That was good fun last week. Thank you for having us.
That's all right. Had to have you boys in.
Hence the Tyler Zeros this weekend.
A little bit of a detox weekend.
Anyways, let's cut to the chase. Who are you shouting your beer /long neck/pint to?
Yeah, well, look, there's a few. As much as we did drink, there's a few cases left from the weekend, so I was decided to
pay ours.
Shout out entire football soccer team here. So Northern Mariana Islands under 17 boys, they're playing in the qualifying games for the under 17s Asian Football Championship at the moment. Not really shouting them for any spectacular football, just the fact that the Amino country sort of going up against the big guns in Australia, China, all that sort of stuff in their group stages.
Yeah. Exactly. When you think world-class soccer, you think Australia, you think China.
Of course. At least in this region, I guess.
Definitely.
So they did go down to Australia. What was it?
23-0. 23, yes.
11-0 to China. They got Cambodia next in the group stages.
Fancy him against Cambodia, surely.
Reckon?
Put one in the back of the onion bag.
Yeah, they got to get at least one. But yeah, a country of 56, 57 odd thousand up against massive countries like China. It's good to see that.
1 billion people.
Yeah, good to see that they're getting into the sport, getting around it, and getting some backing as well.
Might have to shout those beers also to the coaching staff. Just realised under 17s team.
It is on Labour.
It's a US Commonwealth, I think. It's right next to Guam. So the drinking age
can they drink
might be 21.
Can they drink the Tyler Zeros?
I'm sure. Well, there we go. An alcohol-free Carlton Zero, courtesy of unofficial sponsor Carlton Brewing Company, Carlton United, whatever the fuck he's up. All right, mop of the week, boys. We're going double mops.
Double mops.
Yeah, going.
True.
2 heads on it. Maybe one with the the sprinkly like mop head kind of thing, and the other one that's like a more of a foam thing. I don't know. That's my mop expertise. Anyways, Brett Favre of former greatest Packer quarterback of all time fame has been caught.
Who's won more Super Bowls?
It's one apiece, I believe. No, 5-1-2. Yeah. 5-1-2. Yeah, happy there. Right, walked right into that one. Walked right into that one. Who siphoned more money out of a state fund that was meant to go to needy families? Allegedly, Brett Favre has. So if you haven't caught up with the story, especially our Down Under listeners, Brett Favre, excellent quarterback for the Green Bay Packers back in the late 90s, early noughties. He's been doing some bad boy tings, some white collar bad boy tings, and has siphoned money. It sounds bad on paper, doesn't it? From a state welfare fund, which was meant to feed needy families. It sounds worse maybe worse when it came out of my mouth than it did look on paper. To fund, get this, a volleyball facility for his daughter at the time. It's still his daughter, but at the time she was at the University of Southern Mississippi playing volleyball, and tried to get a little bit of funding out of a state welfare fund to build him a new practice facility, something like that.
Yep.
Pretty bad. I can't imagine Brett Favre is short of coin.
Not great. No.
I think Brett Favre had a history of this as well, because I believe the governor in the past has used taxpayers' money to get Favre to appear for speaking conferences and things like that, where he'd either do it or not show up completely and still get paid. So I think, it's pretty common knowledge in that state that he's has a nice hand.
Yes, good at the dodgy deals. Is he facing jail time, or is it? Probably not.
He maybe not so much.
Hall of Fame quarterbacks don't go to jail.
I think
they do not go to jail.
The politicians giving him money would be more likely the ones in trouble here.
Yeah, it's dodgy. It all stinks. It's corruption. You hate to see it, and it really puts a dampener. And me as a Green Bay Packers fan, really puts a dampener on the way that you view people like that. Thank you, Ricken, in the chat. Stealing money. Mississippi is literally like the poorest state. That's where he's from, and COVID and the like. Last few years, a lot of people doing it tough. It's pretty gross to see someone that's worth millions and millions of dollars siphoning money. But anyways, corruption. Yeah, it's rife around the world. Jail time, couldn't find it. I doubt it. I don't believe The Longest Yard was a documentary. I don't think NFL quarterbacks go to jail unless you do something real bad.
No, possibly. I'm just reading another article. Possibly would be up for repaying the money, which
slap on the wrist.
Slap on the wrist for him. But
we'll see what happens.
No criminal wrongdoing as of such. I don't know if you could. If there's any sort of fraud, then maybe.
Well, that's our thing. He'd have to be
It's
actively defrauding the state to be able to get it. Whereas I think he'll plead as ignorance that I didn't know where the money was coming from. That was up to the governor to sort out. So,
well, there's this other article where his charity for cancer.
It gets better.
It gets better.
We've gone from the homeless and the hungry to cancer.
Let me just read this first paragraph here. Brett Favre's charity, whose mission is to support disadvantaged and disabled children and breast cancer patients, donated more than $130,000 to the athletic foundation of his alma mater. So,
like I said, I think it's been pretty well known for a long time that dodgy deals for Brett Favre.
Yes. Second mop goes to our own Today Show Down Under here. They were doing a preview-ish, or actually the segment was how to get your kit for the rugby league grand final. Kind of like one of those old American Express ads, or was it? I don't know. Anyways, one of these that cost $40 and one of these $20 priceless. Was that American Express? MasterCard maybe. Anyways, they had Parramatta gear up there, and then they had the Penrith gear, and they did have the Penrith Panthers cap, I believe, $40 or from wherever, and then a shirt with the Carolina Panthers, not from
Australia,
not from Western Sydney fame,
no,
Carolina Panthers. Jokes galore. Baker Mayfield lining up at 7 for Penrith. Nathan Cleary out. Absolute bungle, and this is prime time, one of the most viewed.
The week leading up to the grand final. Like
it's a blunder. It's a blunder, and it's just
mainstream
media, bro. Do your own research. Do your own research. They still fuck things up all the time, and how anyone can be that ignorant to let that air. It was pretty funny viewing.
Well, that's it. I wonder if that's just some junior editor just put it in there as a joke.
Some Parramatta fan was just like, fuck 'em.
That actually, now that you say it like that, probably makes more sense. It's either extreme ignorance or classic prank. Yeah. Like, I'm Ron Burgundy kind of shit.
Not gonna lie, I did do that with one of the emails out for my wedding. You boys catch that? No, so
he spelt the venue, the name of where we were going.
Well, no,
the address
that
wrong
was
as
one
well.
thing. No, so
spelling mistake. Let that slide. Jeez, you can't be pulling up everyone with spelling.
The whole lead up, everyone's been going, "Oh, this would be such a great party, such a great catch up with everyone," that sort of stuff. Yeah. Shell has obviously put a lot of effort into planning this wedding, and
Mrs. Webster,
and she wasn't too happy with people calling it a party or a catch up.
It was a good catch up,
and it was a great catch up.
Also a great party.
It was a great party, great celebration.
Yeah, that was just a ceremony.
Where does the fuck up lay?
So
that's a day reference. It wasn't a wedding. It was a catch up.
Yeah, day before the wedding, we're putting out an email to everyone, all the guests who are catching the bus. I put a little joke in the start saying, "Can't wait to see everyone at the catch-up, not long soon." Asked the missus to proofread it. She didn't proofread it, hit send, and it went out to 60-odd people saying it was a catch-up, not a wedding. She was a little bit angry.
Yeah. Out of all the wrongs that have been done in the history of humanity, I don't think that's top 100.
It's pretty typical starting your marriage off on the right foot. So
exactly.
Real good.
No, but it's just that typical...
3 divorcees by then. Fuck the way we're going.
That's it. No, but just that typical prank. Someone just chucks something in as a bit of a placeholder, and then everyone forgets to check it.
Thank you for coming to the catch-up /wedding/go fuck yourself, San Diego. All right, boys, let's get stuck into some cricket. We have it's come around quickly, really, because the COVID-delayed 2020 World Cup, which was meant to be down under, went to, where'd they fucking play that? India last year. Australia win it, and we're the incumbent champions. And
home soil? The
tournament proper kicks off in 2 weeks tomorrow with Australia playing New Zealand. True. However, there's that qualifying little
play-in,
and some big nations that still need to try and qualify. The West Indies haven't qualified direct yet. Sri Lanka, who just won the four-way series in Asia, the Asian Cup, they need to qualify. So a little bit doing there. Get to watch the powerhouses like Namibia and Netherlands and that do their business. The under-17s Northern Mariana soccer team.
Maybe a dark horse in there. We'll see.
No, I'm not going to say any dark horses out of them. Sure, Sri Lanka, West Indies. They're the favourites. Out of favourites of trying to qualify for being a dark horse. Alas, we're 2 weeks away from the tournament proper, so we won't do a proper preview of that until next weekend, and we'll preview the World Cup.
Yes. But starts on the 16th.
We've got some warm up. We've got some warm up games. So the play in. So
16th next week.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so Australia doesn't. The actual Super Sixes or whatever they're calling them. That starts in 2 weeks' time.
Correct.
Yeah. Anyways, there's been some warm up games. Pretty dreadful turnouts for these West Indies games. Granted, the first one was on a Wednesday night. Grand final.
Everyone's saving their money for World Cup. So
true.
And I think that India-Pakistan game is pretty close to sold out. So
yeah, I think it is. I think it's at the MCG.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So everyone's just like,
they'll be turning out.
They've paid for what they want to see,
mate. So. It's the biggest. It's one of the biggest rivalries in sport. Period.
Yep.
Forget cricket. It was on Joe Rogan. Yep. It was on Joe Rogan of number one podcast in the world fame the other day. I had someone telling him about India and Pakistan, and they were looking at it, and they were talking about Virat Kohli and how he's got 120 million followers. It's more than LeBron James, et cetera, et cetera. But before that starts, we've had some warm-ups. Aussies winning 2-0 against the West Indies. Game 1, West Indies looked okay. Made 9 for 145. Kyle Mayers with 39. The big story out of this one was Aaron Finch demoting himself to number 4. Cameron Green getting the nod to open the batting. He looked good in those games.
That wasn't the first time he opened in India.
In India, he opened as well.
So So there's a bit of trials in there, but it's interesting. He's not in the squad.
He's not in the World Cup squad.
So unless someone gets injured or retires, he can't get in. So
I don't think anyone will be retiring in this next week anymore. Possibly grooming for Cameron Green to open the batting after the T20 World Cup for the Aussies moving forward. Looked pretty good. Didn't look out of place at all.
Yeah, and he gives you a bit extra with the ball as well. So yeah,
and he's a 6'6" dish that can field in the gully and does things. Anyways, Finchy, he made runs. He made 54.
Had to.
Man of the match. The Australian media, shit-house podcasts calling for his head and the like.
He needed runs. He needed form going into it. We've been talking about it. So yeah, to get a score, he didn't do too well in the second one.
That's right.
But he got
Man of the match in that first one?
Man of the match, yes. And I think the biggest concern probably for the Australians is they had 2 collapses in both these games against the West Indies.
Yeah.
So
Wadey saved them in this one.
39
of 29. They only won with a ball to spare. And then did it a bit more comfortable at the Gabba, made 178. Davey Warner, 75 of 41. That bloke is in some elite form leading into this World Cup. Tim David had a little bit of a look at what he can do now, wearing the green and gold of Australia and not the, I'm going to say, red and white of Singapore.
Yeah, true. And what was interesting in that game was there was nothing in between the two of them. So
a lot of single digit and scores there.
Maxie's maybe a little bit underdone going into the tournament, but again, he's out there to hit quick and playing down the order, so we'll see how it goes.
And speaking of Tim David, him and Maxie have that similar role, that pinch hitting coming in at 5, 6, 7 and just going bang. Because I feel like our top order, we've got lots of blokes that can sort of nudge it around at, strike at 120 and build an innings. You Steve Smiths, if you will, your Finchies and Warner's on that next level at the moment. We need some of that power hitting. I think that's what this Australian team lacks. If it lacks anything. And Tim David probably going to get a start, you'd think, in a couple of weeks against New Zealand.
Yeah, well, I guess,
Mitch Marsh didn't play, so he's got to come back in. So someone's got to go out. It might be Steve Smith that misses out, which is crazy to think.
Well, I was going to ask, how much did Steve Smith play in the last World Cup?
Nearly all of it.
Interesting. I think, very, very interesting. But I think that Marsh, Maxwell, David, they kind of have that similar-ish role there. So, and Wade's your keeper, so I guess he's going to be
someone's got to keep.
Yeah.
So it's going to be Matt Wade.
Yeah, and he's been very good at that spot there. It's kind of catching the falling sword, as you will.
Did the same in the World Cup as well. If you remember, we were in a few sticky situations with the bat, and Matt Wade saved the day.
Yeah. Reckon Steve Smith should not be playing in the squad, and he could very well be.
Yeah, I think I love Steve Smith. I'm a big Smudge fan. Love what he does in all formats, but I'm starting to question, is he in our best 11 for at least for this World Cup? Time will tell.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting as well because they will get actually probably not. I was going to say in the Super Sixes they might get a chance to play around with things, but I'm pretty sure it just goes from Super Sixes straight to semi-finals. So you can't really afford.
You got to win your games.
Yeah, you can't afford to lose anything. Yeah. So if they are going to tinker, it's got to be in these 3 games against England. That's the only tinkering that they can do. Really.
It's a good segue.
Thank you. It does. Well, it's still England. There was a good meme that got missed with King Charles. The death of the Queen has brought King Charles to the throne, and King Charles was he was on the screen. Anyways, Johnson Charles and Brandon King were batting together. It said King Charles batting for the West Indies. Bit of fun there. Be interesting to try and find some gloves that fit King Charles' fingers. I don't know if anyone's seen them.
I don't think he can bat wearing wicket-keeper gloves. So,
dude, more than wicket-keeper gloves. You know what his fingers look like? If you ever
Frankfurt's.
Yeah, you ever pulled like a thing of sausages out and they're all sort of like clumped together, and you try and that's literally what his fingers look like. Oh, King Charles. Anyways, it was a bit of a meme more than anything. Mitch Stark, very good with the ball, 4 for 20, blaze it in that one. England, we do have 3 warm-up games against England starting tonight. 2 at the Theatre of Dreams, Monica. I'm going to try and go Friday night at Monica.
Do they have the lineup for tonight?
No, they'll have their squads, but it starts at 7 and they probably won't announce the actual teams till an hour before. I think they're in Sydney tonight and then Canberra Wednesday. Friday, what about we don't get a World Cup game, so they threw us a bone here. I'll oblige, pay $70 and go watch a game that means literally nothing, but it's okay. It's 15 minutes down the road at the Theatre of Dreams. Mm-hmm. Geelong gets World Cup games. Half the fucking stadium's not built. I don't know if they were meant to be getting it finished for now, but you guys obviously would have seen the Cats home games this year, and kicking to one end, it's kicking into a construction site.
Yep.
So that's interesting. Snubbed for Geelong, and I'm unless they've really cracked the whip in the last 4 weeks, I don't think that stadium's built. I do not think that stadium's
got
finished.
some of those guys that did guitar and get them over and see
Guitar, yeah. Were they 4,500 deaths?
Yes,
like that?
Human rights violation.
But soccer, hey. Hey, Ronaldo, Messi's last World Cup.
Wrong flag.
Yeah. That Australia-England match tonight is over in Perth.
Interesting. Yeah. So they had to fly. So the Aussies were in Queensland. They've gone over to Perth, and then they're coming here. And then that's where I think the first game against New Zealand, that's in Sydney, I believe.
Yes. Yep. You're right.
Cool beans. Shield. We're gonna keep following the Shield this season. We've spoken about how so many people around the water coolers, around the smoko sheds, around wherever you talk about sport in this nation, they love to pick their best 11 for Australia when the test matches come around, and they don't have any idea about what's going on in the Shield. So a quick recap: the first 3 games, WA smoked New South Wales. Teague Wiley, boys, we spoke about him in the under-19 World Cup. He's 18 years of age. He scored a ton. That makes him the youngest Shield centurion in over 3 decades. Good little bit saying that he doesn't like to celebrate hundreds too much. Who said this? Sam Whiteman maybe said this, that he looks like an accountant. Sorry. Sam Whiteman said that he doesn't celebrate much, and then they asked him about it, and then he said, Teague Wiley himself said, accountants don't celebrate doing tax returns, so I shouldn't celebrate scoring hundreds. AKA, it's my job. I'm an accountant.
I'm here to do
crunching numbers. We do have an accountant down here on my right. Amongst you, do you celebrate when tax time? Raise the bat, etc. Raise the calculator.
That's it. Yeah. No. After every tax return is lodged, we raise the calculator, do a little dance. No.
Ring the bell.
No. Definitely do not celebrate lodging tax returns, especially when those tax returns get someone a refund that's more than what I'm earning.
All in one refund.
All in one refund.
Was it Brett Favre's tax return? Oh, there we go. Once in a while, one hits. Lance Morris, he took 9 for not many in this one as well. He's a 24-year-old quick from WA, so one to keep an eye on. I think he did a bit in the Shield last year. Tasmania and Queensland, this was a very one-way traffic. Queensland winning by an innings and 172 runs. Tim Payne made his return to Shield cricket. Didn't do a whole lot, as per the rest of the Tasmanian team.
It's probably a good thing in the Shield because he can keep his head down. There's not many people there heckling him.
That's right. That's right. Hopefully just the iPhone's put away there for poor Tim. But anyway, it's good to see him return to cricket. This was hard to watch. Poor Mark Steckety was on a hat-trick, and the bloke he was bowling to schnicked up, and it was Usman Khawaja and Joe Burns at second and third slip. Uzi diving in front of Joe, got his left mitt to it, it popped out, and they dropped a hat-trick. So poor Mark Steckety missing out there. Marnus Labuschagne, loose bus change of the great man of Carlton Draft sticker fame. He had 127. He won't feature in this World Cup, but good to see him getting some red ball runs there. Jimmy Pearson also making a ton, and it was Gurunda Sandhu who was the man of the match there for Queensland. He had 5 for 41 in that last innings. And then the Vixen South Australians, they're going at day 4 today. Will Pukowski back from concussion, but he went for a quacker. Marcus Harris, 85. Will Sutherland, 100.
Did he turn up a week or two ago?
Mate, it wouldn't have been for Victoria in the Shield.
Marsh
Cup, the one-day cup is.
I feel like he had a ton.
Maybe. Can you?
Well, we'll leave that to Jimmy Chase. You finish off.
Not much else to say. Head and Carey both had 70 odd in this one. Footbrush, Peter Hanscom, he had 132. The South Australians were chasing a lot of runs today. That is ongoing unless it's already over. Mux, any yarn there on Pukowski's? Because the Marsh Cup is a few games into it. So I don't know if that's what you're talking about.
Might have just been a local state.
It might have been grade game.
Yeah.
Grade game down there.
Anyway.
Yeah, nothing on his
Good,
stats.
good to see him back batting.
Yeah, that's the main thing to take out of it.
100%, yeah.
And like I said, we should be back next week and previewing the T20 World Cup. NRL. The Penrith Panthers have won their second. They're back-to-back. They're back-to-back champs, winning
2 from 3.
2 from 3. The greatest Panthers team of all time. We'll get to that in just a second. Allegedly, they won this one 28-12. It was pretty much one-way traffic from the word go. Stephen Crichton went over. Brian how good was he? You see his stats?
Oh, elite returning. They
299 run meters.
Yeah,
2 tries.
A lot of teams, to try and get up on Penrith, really need to take him out of the game in his return game, and the Eels couldn't do it in this. And that really gives a great platform for the rest of the Panthers. And they rolled them. They dominated.
They bashed in the middle.
Yeah, big time.
It was the Penrith forwards really getting on top of the Parramatta forwards, and then just off the back of Cleary and Luai. Like a few people were into Luai, and we'll get into his celebrations in just a second. But his footwork and passing game, I think, was really, really good.
He just has to be a solid second fiddle role player in that team.
Yeah.
Like he's not asked to do a lot because he doesn't need to. So it's a different story when Cleary's injured, and then he does take up a lot of that role. But he's not Cameron Munster. Like,
No.
that's clear. That's obvious. But he does the role that he needs to do in that team. So
Indeed.
can't fault him for that.
And did it well. How did you boys feel as a neutral? Like, I didn't really care either way. I just wanted to see a close game. It's what we didn't really get. The scoreline doesn't really reflect how one-sided this game was.
Yeah, well, they only scored those last 2 tries in the last 4 minutes of that game. So
76th, 77th minute.
yeah, so they dominated throughout. It was very much similar to what we saw the week before in the AFL, considering we haven't we won't cover that, but another blowout, Geelong winning, etc. It was
That was over at quarter time.
exactly. It was done at half time, and then had to spend the evening with the missus. Like
The game's still on. you can still say I'm watching the end.
Yeah. But she thinks she can have conversation because there's nothing much happening. So
You just got to pretend that 20,
it's important they can come back.
28-0 20 minutes ago. You never know. 28-3. 28-3. The Patriots can come back from this.
Always a chance.
That's what Eagles fans were thinking when Arthur came on the field and they scored 2 quick ones. But
I don't think Eagles fans are thinking that.
They were leaving for the car park.
If they were driving home, drink responsibly, obviously. But what I'm about to say is if I wouldn't have driven to a grand final, and if my team was down 28-0, I just would have been going straight to the butt. How many can I get? 4, 8? Let's go. Heartbreak for Para fans. It is the longest active premiership drought going back to 1986.
And it will continue.
It will continue. It's a bit of a caveat, that one, isn't it? Because the Gold Coast have never won one. And both merger clubs have. The Warriors have never won one.
Yeah, the Sharks only just won theirs.
Yeah, so anyways, 36 years, and that will become 37. Boys, look, the game was pretty one-sided. Dylan Edwards was the Clive Churchill.
Deserved, I think.
I think probably the only other chance was To'o. And can you a winger?
Wingers,
you'd have to score like 4.
Yeah,
I think. But he had 299 run meters. I think Edwards had 290 or 291, deservedly so. Winning the Churchill,
and he was very good in defence as well. Like there was a reason there was 0 for nearly the entire game because he was there keeping the Eels out when they did have a couple of chances.
Well, he set up that Stephen Crichton try. That was off the back of an inside ball from him. Yeah. He had a few offloads. I think he had 3 or 4 offloads, which is crazy as a fullback. And of course, he had that Scott Sattler-esque tackle down the sideline on Bailey Simonson. It was because after that tackle, they went down and scored. Which is what made it 28-0. That was when it was party time at the foot of the mountains. Then, like with that 20 minutes to go, that was it. It was just, that was injury time after that.
Yep.
It was done. It was done and dusted. A lot has been made of the after party. A few of the old fossils doing their fossil thing and saying, it shows no respect and it's arrogant and blah blah blah. Look, if I was a Parramatta fan, I'd probably be a little bit dirty with the carry-on. As a neutral and as blokes that are fans of American sport and don't mind a little bit of the theatre of it all. I didn't mind it too much. Your take on carry on?
Yeah,
Post-match celebrations?
If you win and you've only lost 4 games all year, like, do what you want. Don't care.
Jerome Luai, of course, saying that, to call me daddy, that Penrith is the father of the Parramatta Eels.
But everything post-game is fine. I think Luai, he gets a bit of stick because he does it during the games. Like, they still were well in front, but it's more or less like, hey, we've won. We've now completed the job. And then do what you want. So
he said it before the game too. Yeah. He did say in the grand final lead up. He's like, that's where he's like, call me daddy. Like, so that's
Damon Green kind of. You got to back up. Walk the walk and back up the talk.
That's talking the talk and walking the walk. Yeah. So I don't mind it. I think a lot of Queenslanders hate Jerome Luai because obviously New South Wales 6 and the rest of it.
We're happy post
Origin.
It helps us win.
So. The Call Me Daddy stuff was, I think that's fine. I think it's a little bit funny. Probably a little bit on the nose with the social media post alluding to Jamin Summon as his fellow African-American, if you catch my drift. Look, I don't really care if he says that, to be honest, but maybe in poor taste. Should have just called him a weak-gutted dog. Yeah.
Or a dumb dog, one of the two.
That Jamin Summon is the original weak-gutted dog. Thanks to Ricky Stewart. So, that post did get taken down, and then Jerome spoke out and said, that people don't like, him doing it his way. And he kind of alluded, he did throw race in there with, being a Polynesian out there and having success. I don't think that people think he's arrogant because I don't think it's got anything to do with race. And look, I like Jerome Luai. I think it brings a little bit of extra excitement to the game. It's not full credit to the boys, like boring kind of scripted response. I think it makes it a bit of fun. And we also are talking about a week where Luciano Leilua and Josh Curran bash people. Like, one was domestic violence thing, and Josh Curran broke someone's teeth in a pub.
Yeah, and NRL players punching people.
Exactly. If you want to be outraged, and deservedly so, I think you should be outraged at that, and a bit of carry on and a bit of, teasing and fun that like Luai's gone out and done and the Penrith Panthers have done. Yeah, I think it just adds a bit of flavour to it.
Yeah.
And I will caveat that by saying if I was an Eels fan, I'd fucking hate it.
If it was against the Dragons, you'd be here.
Oh, dude, Jerome Luai is the biggest piece of shit on the planet Earth.
Yeah, I know.
And it goes Vladimir Putin, Jerome Luai.
If back to the world leaders chat.
Of course, if it was my beloved Dragons, I'd probably say it different. But as a neutral, I don't mind it. What do we think about Api Coruscant? He's leaving. Did you see what he said?
They said it, and it was multiple times. Like, after the match, they I think it was one of his fellow players said to him, was like, enjoy it because you don't win these at the Tigers. And he had a little bit of a smirk on his face. And then he repeated the line
he said
in the parade the next day. And I was like, oh my God, Happy.
He did one of these runs. He goes, you don't get one of these, speaking about his premiership rings, at the Tigers. So, look.
He was wearing the sunglasses. He's probably a bit dusty. So,
what do you reckon?
Yeah.
The fact that they have to face the media, 12 hours, 14 hours.
It was a parade. So
they should just do that shit on Tuesday or something, man. I don't know. But a big turnout from the players. I think all the Penrith players were there. Some of them wearing sunglasses, as you would be. It was there at the stadium, I think in front of 4,000 or 5,000 fans.
It was in Penrith,
That James Fisher Harris said that they're the best Penrith side ever. They're back-to-back premiers, 3 grand finals in a row. They won all 4 grades this year. With respect to Freddie and Brandy and MG, he's just stating a fact.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any debate around that.
Yeah, like you look at. I was trying to think of Freddie's team, and
I had it. Damn it! You go.
But people forget that
it's 91 Panthers.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They've won. They won one. He only won one comp while there with Penrith. The second back half of his career was at the Roosters. So. It was a great team for a great year, but Penrith are in that dynasty conversation now.
100% dynasty.
Yeah, they're now taking the mantle from what Storm had been for the previous decade. So,
and their only loss, they reasonable losses. Sean O'Sullivan obviously looked good, but isn't in their starting 6 or 7, and then they lose Appy, as we spoke about, and Billy Kickout. He goes to the Dogs. You'd imagine that they'd be able to keep on rolling next year.
Yeah, I think there's some chat about they might have salary cap issues post next year. We'll have to see what next year looks like because they've got a loaded roster with talent top to bottom, so we'll have to see what it looks like going forward. But anyway, I think. Does he say it, Papa Lili? I can't remember the Eels. Eels, little Papa, who's still very huge. I think had some similar comments as well on his post Parramatta, post that game as well for having played for Parramatta, now going to the Tigers too. That a bit of reluctance there, and that but he's still going. He's still going to do that deal. So. If you're a Tigers fan, you're probably a bit dirty.
It's
you're paying these guys big money, and they're really just turning out to get paid big money. Like they don't have the
passion,
the love for the shield, for the tiger head, I guess. But that might all change in a year's time. Time will tell.
Few big re-signings / one signing. The biggest one being Cameron Munster has put pen to paper. He will be at the Melbourne Storm for the next 4 years. There's been ongoing speculation around this signing for months and months and months. The Redcliffe Dolphins, the Dolphins, were tipped to be throwing at least $1 million, maybe $1.2 million a year his way.
Remember that deal was 1.4.
Yeah, 1.4. Jeez.
So 5.6 over 4 years, and he turned it down for 4 years, $4 million.
Yeah.
So he got his bill. So I think, which he was happy with, and he was happy to stay at Melbourne. I think Wayne was a bit dirty that he didn't call him to tell him he was not going to take his deal. And then I think Munster came out either this morning or late yesterday and said, yeah, that's my bad. I should have actually rang Wayne to tell him that I wasn't coming.
Why does he owe Wayne a phone call?
Well, they are close. They did win, State of Origin.
Yeah.
They've played. They've obviously been through this recruitment for a very long time, leading into this point where they could actually sign a deal. I think it was probably a courtesy to say, hey, I'm turning, you've offered me a job and I'm turning the job down.
Fair enough. I suppose the numbers, if you're going to turn $1.6 million down or whatever the difference is between his contracts, maybe a phone call would suffice. But anyways, big for Melbourne Storm fans, because if he left, we could have started be talking about Melbourne Storm not making the 8.
Yeah, well, they're still
they're gonna be fine.
Yeah, they're still a good team, and Bellamy will have to find a 6 to fill in. But Munster's still a huge out.
Yep.
Yes.
Do you reckon this is any signs for Bellamy in his future past next season as well?
I think Craig Bellamy
he extended, didn't he?
He has that job until he doesn't want to have that job.
I think he extended a year or two on top of that, so he'll be right. Yep. The Dolphins, they did get a decent win during the week, stealing the hammer away from Cowboys, who very well basically had they didn't have a spot for, unfortunately, because Drinkwater was in his spot. And
Drinkwater came 4th in the Dally M, and he missed the first 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
Crazy season.
Yeah. But
no one go back and look at our preseason preview of the Cowboys. To be fair, I don't think anyone had the Cowboys doing as well as they did this year.
Yeah, they just found elite talent when they needed to. And it'll be interesting to see how they go next year, because some of these guys that, were on vet minimums that came in and then kind of young, small deals have now been paid out big money elsewhere. They've managed to retain a bunch of that talent, but also, a bit of it's been poached.
Great signing from the Dolphins. Their backline left a little bit to be wanted, I think. But Hammer playing fullback will be very good for them. He's shown that he's a Maroons caliber player, and if it wasn't for the rise of Scott Drinkwater, probably would still be at the Cowboys.
Yep. And playing for the Vanilla Cokes in probably the worst jersey.
Looks bad. It doesn't look great, does it?
Oh, I thought they actually potentially had a Coke sponsorship, and that's why they did it. But without it, you're just like, okay, why?
Maybe they just need to hit up Coca-Cola and guys, we've already made the jerseys. You just 30 box of Cokes a week, and chuck the name on there, something like that. It's a pretty ordinary looking jersey, isn't it? It's red and cream. much like a vanilla Coke.
Yeah, I mean, they never played in cream, I don't think, Redcliffe at all. Before that, I think it's been very much red and white.
Yeah.
But I guess, they can't do the inverse of the Dragons.
Yeah, I think maybe there was some of that thinking behind it. And then I would have thought, well, maybe red and black would look a bit sexy. But then maybe there's a bit of North Sydney Bears about that. But newsflash, the Bears are still in New South Wales Rugby League.
Yeah, well, they were heavily black jerseys with red accents, whereas I think they could have gone heavily red with black accents.
A little bit of black. Yeah.
Like, you literally just change the cream to black and it's a way better jersey.
Yeah.
Just do that.
Yeah. It couldn't be red and white. It couldn't be red and blue, I suppose. Anything other...
can't be red and green, so...
True, couldn't be red and green. We're starting to run out of options.
Yeah, so
we're running out of options. We've still got black on the table. We've got yellow on the table.
Or solid red, and you look like England, but yeah.
We've got cream. We've gone cream.
Well, they do have an is there a away jersey black?
I don't know. I think they've just announced that home jersey. I doubt there is an alternate.
Well, I just saw 3 jerseys.
That's a training tee. That's a training. That training tee looks way better than the.
Well, just take that black and put that where the cream is.
Yeah.
And then inverse it. So the white maybe make that cream. Yeah. Yeah. And the
not a great jersey, is it?
Training tee does look better than the
160 smackers too.
Yeah. Jerseys aren't cheap.
No, they're not.
And your lad. Signing.
Ben Hunt is going to be a Dragon till the age of 35. He
most likely retire. I'd say.
Yeah, most likely retire as a Dragon. There was a bit of speculation as to where he might end up. I suppose the big talking point for the Dragons was only 3 of their first graders showing up for the presentation night. This is a little bit of a show of where the club's at, but also...
Well, did you see 2 of the young fellas? I think Sloan was one of them. Already asking for, I think Sloan was asked for a lease. They won't grant it.
Yeah,
but he wants out.
Yeah, I did see Sloan wants out.
Yeah, there's a few young fellas that are not happy there.
Well, Sloan wasn't getting played.
Yeah,
Hook was playing him off the bench.
Did you see Ben Hunt's comments this morning?
Negative.
He said if we start slow next year, what's that coach's name? Griffin. He'll be out the door. We know that. So
Ben said that.
Yeah, Ben said that. So which is interesting because he's re-signed knowing the coach is probably on a month's notice going into next season. So if they start slow, they could be without a head coach.
Who would want to be a coach in any sport?
Yeah. Well, there's rumours about bloody C-Bomb going to Manly.
I don't think that's
as a replacement. And Manly, there's talking about Manly Hasler wanting to sue Manly. So
that's Anthony Seabold, just to clarify, not Emily Seabomb of Commonwealth Games glory fame.
Well, if you were a Brisbane fan at his time, he was the different Seabomb. So anyway.
Yes, Seabomb. I'm with you now. C-bomb.
Yes.
Dragons for I wore my hat on purpose to show solidarity with the club. I would have been there at that presentation night. Also, a little bit weird having it after the NRL Grand Final. I think literally half the playing group is overseas. I follow a lot of them on socials. A fair few in Bali, a couple elsewhere. So I don't know. It's kind of like saying, it's the middle of school holidays, and here's your awards night for go and get the fucking.
Yeah,
coaches award for
year 6.
You
used to do it the week after the season.
So a bit of poor timing from them. It was the last club presentation night to occur, other than I think the grand finalists. Anyways, World Cup boys. This is a bit stupid as well. I think the squad got announced for the World Cup, the Australian squad that is, and the International Rugby League. I think that's what they're called, International Rugby League, announced that. You've got to wear the same jersey throughout the whole tournament, which is fine. Most teams tend to name their best 1 through 17, and then the rest of their guys will wear 18 through 24. We didn't want to do that. So we
didn't want to name they didn't want to be named in their not all of them in their positions.
They didn't want to name 1 through 17.
Yeah.
So what they came up with was all the veterans would be the higher numbers, with Teddy being 1 because he's the fullback and the new skipper, and then it went through, I believe, on number of games played.
Yeah, how many caps they had.
How many caps? So DCE 2, Ben Hunt 3, Val Holmes 4, Jake Trbojevic 5, Regan Campbell Gillard 6, Cam Munster 7, Latrell Mitchell 8, Fox 9, Jack Whiten 10, Cam Murray 11. Then The rest of the numbers are all the rookies. So pretty crazy to think that there's only 11 incumbents and then 13 rookies. And it's alphabetical order. So in alphabetical order, from 12 through 24 is Matt Burton, Pat Carrigan, Nathan Cleary, Lindsay Collins, Ruben Cotter, Angus Crichton, Tino Fa'asasua Mala'awi, Campbell Graham, Harry Grant, Liam Martin, Jeremiah Nano, Murray Talangi, and Isaiah Yeo. Boys, thoughts on this?
It's going to be very confusing for me.
Very confusing for everyone.
Yeah, I think they looked at what the NFL did and then said, how can we make that worse, and then implemented it. So, yeah.
It's going to be hard to follow. I get they didn't want to show their hand, I suppose, by naming their best 1 through 17, but
It's probably why Rabbit's retired, so he didn't have to try and figure this out during the World Cup. Good luck, Vossi, etc.
I couldn't, because when the team got announced, it kind of came in this format, and I was trying to work out what was going on.
He played on the wing.
Yeah, Jakey Turbo was playing 5. Yeah,
I mean,
Latrell front row. Let's go.
he probably, out of any of these people that's playing out of position, he probably could play as a front row.
Maybe him and one big front rowers.
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Bit of footwork.
Anyways,
it was silly.
let us know in the comments. It's going to be hard to follow. It's also it's a testament to how our brains are wired. You know, all sports fans, that this really throws a spanner in the works when you're looking at it and how disgusting it looks on paper.
Yeah,
but it's interesting. It's going to be weird watching it. Let's try and name our best 1 through 17. How about we do that? Mm-hmm. So Teddy's definitely going to be the fullback.
Yep.
We've got Josh Adokar, the Fox, who's only got 2 caps, which is surprising, 2 test caps. He's going to be on one
They
wing.
haven't played a lot in the last 3 years, so that probably adds.
Yeah, massively. Yeah, they haven't played at all for 3 years. And I think in 2019 they played a couple where we lost to Tonga.
Yep.
We did lose to Tonga in that. So he'll be on one wing for sure. The other wing, it's kind of up in the air. It could be Murray Talangi. It could be Campbell Graham. It could be Val Holmes if they want to play him out of position. Do you think they'll play Holmes in the centres where he's been so good this year, or chuck him on a wing where he scored bulk tries at last World Cup playing on the wing?
True. He has been, he was in conversation for Centre of the Year, I believe, as well. Like, he had an excellent year playing in the centres. Kind of found a home there. So, Mal's the coach.
I think he was Dally M Centre of the Year.
Yeah, so Mal's the coach. I don't think he'll do what New South Wales does and plays guys out of position. I think he'll play in the centres here.
Played a few guys out of position last year and absolutely pants the fuck out of you guys. Can't wait till Tommy Turbo's back and play three fullbacks.
One
man
man team,
No, it's not a one man team because you're playing 3 guys out of position. Now I'm very salty we lost this year. Anyways,
I think they'll play centre. He'll play in the centres. I don't think Matt Burton will get a run in the top 11, in the top 13. I think Matt Burton will play, but it'll probably depend on the competition.
We should say with all of us have got Latrell Mitchell wearing. He's probably plays.
Oh yeah, down the centre. Yeah.
In the traditional 3, so it's probably Val Holmes, or if they want to shift him over to the wing, is it Burton? Is it Jack Whiten starting at the centres?
Yeah. And I think you could probably potentially see a Matt Burton, Jack Whiten combination. Again, depending on the competition, because they'll probably want to leave some running in the legs for their, let's say, first stringers, the starters, for when you roll into New Zealand and England.
For sure. Munster's going to be 6, no doubts about that. Now, DCE is the incumbent. Crazy to think Nathan Cleary hasn't played for Australia, considering his dominance over the last few years.
How many Origins has he won?
2. I think he's won 2. Is it 1?
Yeah, because DCE won the last 2. Well, the last 3, it's DCE 2 and Cleary 1. So.
But the one before Cleary won,
didn't he go Queensland, New South Wales, Queensland?
Yeah, but I think 4 years ago, I think Cleary was.
We're 2-2.
I think it's 2-2.
2-2.
I think it's a Desmond. Since Cleary's been the 7.
Ooh, was Cleary 7 in that one?
I'm fairly sure.
Anyway, we'll leave that up there.
Now I really hope it's 3.
It's the Queensland
go Origins.
Orange Origin teams. I think it's just the Queensland combination. If you got one in there,
and Mal.
Yeah, and Mal's the coach, so not unsurprised.
Props, middle forwards, probably Big Tino and RCG. Thoughts? Yeah.
Yep.
And
best of the rest, unfortunately for us.
Yeah,
All the others have buggered off to play for the other nations.
indeed. And then second row, I think Cam Murray will be one of them. I've gone Jeremiah Nanai here. This could be Angus Crichton.
Yeah, I think Murray definite and Nano, Crichton, etc. probably have a big rotation in there.
Yep. Yo, a lock for lock.
Yeah.
Hooker.
Hooker's probably the most interesting one, how they want to start this.
Is
Because
Harry Grant going to start? Is it going to be Ben Hunt starting and
Yeah.
some kind of iteration of that?
yeah,
My thoughts will be Hunt starts and Grant off the bench.
yeah, and then I think that means that Jack probably won't be 14 because won't be 15 in that regards because you have Harry as 14. I think they'd want they'd want 3 forwards.
Yeah, no,
playing in the international game, they want for 3 forwards.
That's that's interesting because I think they could have a bench, perhaps carrying both of them. They could have Jack and Harry, considering Harry Grant can play as a 9, but as he often does with the Storm, they often play him and Cheese on at the same time.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you that, we will get, I think, again, we'll get this combination. I think maybe more for New Zealand, England, they might go forward heavy. But we'll see.
And speaking of, you've got Ruben Cotter left, you got Pat Carrigan left, you got Jake Turbo left. A few of those guys will round out our best side.
Yeah. Yo's played a lot of football, so it wouldn't surprise me to see Cotter get a bit of a run in there.
Early on.
To make sure they get through the whole tournament.
Monks, how'd you go? How many Origins has Cleary won?
Well, give us what was the last results? What have we got?
All right. So this year, Queensland won.
Last year.
Last year,
New South Wales,
New
Cleary.
South Wales.
The year before, Queensland, DCE.
Yeah.
So we got that's 22, 21, 20, 2019 Origin.
2019. We got here Queensland, New South Wales won.
Yeah, was Cleary playing in that team?
He was playing.
2019.
Yeah, so bang, it's 3-2. So you're already up shit creek. Who won 2008?
Who's run the most recently? We're not talking about it all that way back.
Typical Queenslander can't think of so much. I was going to say brain damage, but maybe that's a bit too far.
You just don't want to look at the rest of that decade. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Also, Nathan, you just shot yourself in the foot with this own argument.
Who won the most recently?
That's not what the
2
original.
from 3.
That's not the original argument. The original argument was how many has Cleary won, and he's won at least 3. Anyways, we can start this debate another time. Nico Hines, Dylan Edwards, were they stiff in missing this squad?
Edwards, no, because he's not going to beat out Teddy. Probably also the reason why I think Sawali is not playing for Australia because he wants to play fullback.
Yep. He'll be playing for Samoa.
Yeah, show his wares, and he's continued to show that, hey, I'm a fullback, not a winger, even though he was a Dally M winger, wasn't he?
I believe so.
Yeah, so Edwards, I don't think so too much because he's just not going to fit in that squad, and he's not like a Latrell. He's an out-and-out fullback.
Yep.
He's a Teddy clone, essentially. Nico,
My thoughts exactly. I think Edwards, shout out to him, Clive Churchill. Not a whole heap of fullbacks have won the Clive Churchill. Joins pretty prestigious company in that. And I think Billy Slater did it twice. Yeah, I think Teddy's won it as a fullback. I saw it, the graphic come up. It's only like 6 or 7 fullbacks have done it. Pappy's done it. Pappy did it. I think excellent footballer, but can understand why he's not in this squad. Yeah. Nico on the other side of things, Dally M winner, you're going to have to carry at least one extra half, and they've done that in Nathan Cleary. I think, just based on his form, maybe.
And they've got Burton in there as well. Yeah. Burton played well as a 6.
I can see the argument for Nico. I can see the argument for him being stiff to miss out on this team. I can't see it for Dylan. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. And I think the one differing factor is Jack could probably play second row.
Who's a Swiss Army knife. He can literally play every position pretty much. Except
throw him in the front row if you want.
That's why they gave him 10. That's why
he'll do you a job, but I think that's probably the one slight difference is the little bit more size that Jack can carry, and that he's going to be the Swiss Army knife on the bench. Whereas Nico you'd want him playing
1, 6 or 7.
Exactly.
Essentially for Nico. So I think that's probably why the selectors have done what they've done. I'm going to say definitely there's never been an Australian team with Dally M winner and the Clive Churchill winner both missing out. When does this stuff kick off? Is it next weekend? Monks, you fucked me up here, bro. What? Just got to be active.
15th of October.
Yeah, next week.
There we go. Next
A day before the cricket.
Monks is going, what the fuck did I do? Yeah, so we've got those warm-ups. You see England smash Fiji, although Fiji was short on, I think, Appy and Kikau. Cumbria beating Jamaica. Holy. New Zealand smoked Leeds Rhinos. Tonga beat France. England Knights, Scotland. Oh, look at that. Greece drew with the Bradford Bulls. Up the Greeks. Up the Greeks. 15th of October, that's where that's what I wanted. England Samoa is the first. Australia have Fiji also on that night. There, 15th.
Yep.
Cool. NFL?
Yes, let's do it.
Yeah.
Green 19. Green 19. The NFC East is the best division in football. We're going to pre-record some of these.
Eventually.
I've got it on my to-do list. That thing just always gets longer. Anyways, the NFC East is the best division in football. Philadelphia Eagles are undefeated. The New York Giants are 3-1. The Dallas Cowboys are 3-1. Not many people would have seen that coming.
No, yeah, considering where that division was, say, last year.
The last
the
decade,
worst.
really. Yeah. We'll go through last week's games. Bengals, Dolphins, Thursday night football. Bengals ending the Dolphins' undefeated streak. What do we think about the white-out uniforms? I thought they looked a bit sexy.
They weren't too bad.
Yeah.
I think the big story of this was Tua.
Yeah.
And they lost Tua, midway through this game, and
2 concussion.
Yeah, 2 concussion.
After he had
bad
been
one.
definitely concussed the week before.
Yes.
The Dolphins said it was a back injury.
Yep.
Where it was clearly a concussion. This is borderline medical negligence.
Yeah, well, the unaffiliated neuroscientist got fired, so he was gone. So the independent doctor lost his job. And then,
Neurologist, I believe that'd be.
Yeah. What did I say?
Neuroscientist.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad.
He's got a back injury down here.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah, Dr. Sean said he had a back injury.
I'm not qualified to do this.
The NFL Players Association with the NFL agreed to new rules from next week.
Good.
That if you have any instability, so standing up and you're wobbly, ruled out immediately. You're done.
Yep.
Say Hines in what happened to him in the Denver game on Friday. Same thing. Like even if they said a back injury, he would have been picked up by that rule and ruled out. So they, since that, also want to fast track it and say, hey, let's do it for this weekend's games, not next weekend. Let's just get it in and protect the players. So there's been a lot of comments about concussions through the week. I think staying on this game, Joe Burrow as well, saying, yeah, I've definitely seen stars. I've had blackouts and things like that. Probably the wrong time to be saying these things, Joe. I guess he was asked the question and he was given an honest response.
Exactly, yeah. Good on him for speaking honestly.
Yeah. But also the fact that it's like, yes, I've been concussed heaps and then I'm not telling anyone about it, which is, the opposite of what they're trying to achieve with this. Which, then they'll be monitoring him more closely. If he gets a knock, they'll be taking him out of games, etc. So, but it's... I think it's for within all health of the players. That's what they're trying to sort out. So, protect the players from themselves, essentially.
Yep. Joe Burrow was pretty good in this game. He threw for 287 yards, 2 touchdowns. T. Higgins, we were speaking at the start of the year about him going so early on in a lot of people's fantasy boards. He had a balling game. He's been really, really good. So maybe if you went early on T. Higgins, it is only early stages, but he's been looking pretty good. Dogging Saints. This one went to overtime over in London. Andy Dalton was playing Latavius Murray, who is on the Broncos now. He found the end zone in this one. Chris Olave, been one of, if not the best rookie receivers so far.
Yep.
But the Vikings got the W off the back of another crazy game from Justin Jefferson. 10 catches, 147 yards. Didn't find the end zone. fucking bloke on my left has him in fantasy, which shits me to tears. Chargers beat the Texans. Davis Mills actually not too bad in this one, although did turn over the ball. The big talking point, and another one of shitting to tears fame, Damian Pierce. He has been excellent. I think he's on your team, isn't he, in fantasy? The first few games kind of looked a little bit lackluster, and we're thinking, is this guy going to be the baller that everyone had projected? Yeah, it looks like he's going to be a baller. And Austin Eckler, who had a little bit of a slow start to the season, he found the end zone 3 times in this one. Falcons beat the Browns. Your boy, Cordero, poor fella. What was his injury? Can you chase that up? Do you know?
Chase that up. No,
yeah, Cordero Patterson. I know he's on
ankle.
He's on IR.
Yeah.
He's on IR as well, so it's going to be
4 weeks.
Like 4 weeks.
yeah. So enter Tyler Algier, who, again, we were kind of having a look at pre-season and seeing, kind of thinking what kind of role is he going to play. He's a must-have if he's available in your fantasy league. Go out and pick him in the next 4 weeks. And despite a full Chubb effort from the Browns, the Falcons getting the win in this one. Nick Chubb is the number 1 running back in the NFL in terms of fantasy points. I believe in rushing yards. I think he's found the end zone a fair few times. And guess whose fucking fantasy teams he's on?
How many games you won this year so far, Babs?
0-1, mate. 0-4 right here. 0-4. You know what's funny? When Damian Pierce was still available on that draft board, I took James Cook. James Cook thought he might be the breakout running back this
It's like you didn't listen to me all off season.
Yeah, we were talking about it. We kind of thought James Cook might have done something other than being the first English person to discover Australia. He and I had Dalvin Cook. I thought, maybe I'll be the Cook brothers. Chef it up. I did kind of what everyone's strategy tends to be and try to get running backs early and leave receivers and quarterbacks and shit for late, and who cares about quarterbacks and the rest of it. And it's hard to find good running backs this year. It's been a strange year. If you went, we were talking about this in the chat, there's a fair few people that went no running back strategy in their drafts.
Yeah, I think wide receivers across the board have outscored running backs, which is ridiculous because you want the running backs that receive as kind of
Sam C.
Yeah, that's
Austin
the big,
Eckler's.
but it just hasn't been that kind of output this year. Whereas I guess receivers, we've seen it with the drafts, with the amount of talent coming into the class that. Quarterbacks prefer to go deep than try to hit the wheel routes and the checkdowns. They've just got so many, they're 3 or 4 deep now. So there's probably going to be a dude open. So they're going to the receivers a lot more than they are.
Is that PPR only, or are we seeing it across?
You're seeing it across the board. Obviously, in PPR, it's going to be more sort of. It's going to skew it more towards the receivers because you get that extra. Exactly. 10 points for Justin Jefferson there, but it's been a weird kind of start to the fantasy football year. Definitely. I think Nick Chubb in PPR has maybe close to 90 fantasy points, whereas there's over 100 in PPR standings.
I can give you a quick answer to that question. Currently sitting on all of the season. 85 and a half.
Yep. For Nick Chubb in full PPR.
And, I've got Jefferson there. Besides that one game where he did nothing, he's got 85 point. Oh, they're exactly the same.
Yeah, there you go.
So, yeah. But, I've got Cortland Sutton that's 8 points behind that. So,
yes.
You can pick where there was a lot more wide receiver, especially ones. There's, a lot more... Of those ones wide receivers, so you get 32 of those, and then the twos, you got another 32, have a lot more value, have a lot easier to find than, say, that maybe 5 running backs that also then get receptions and bulk yards.
But even that, Jonathan Taylor's been underwhelming, didn't play on the weekend. Yeah. Well, that was his first time. Yeah. Dalvin Cook's been underwhelming. Derek Henry's been underwhelming by his standards.
Well, Kamara hurt too. So, Swift hurt too. Yeah. But it is early. We'll have to see. That's now. How the back end of the season is. Those running backs probably will come back in and be the difference to winning your leagues as we get into the back end of the season.
Anyways, we did go down a fantasy tangent then. Nothing wrong with that. I think a lot of people that like the sport would play fantasy football.
Yeah.
Cowboys beat the Commanders. Cooper Rush, he's 4-0 as an NFL starter.
Does he get Eagles this week?
Good question. No, I don't think it is. Maybe it is.
Keep going.
I've got it in a sec when we preview.
No, they've got cards have got Eagles.
Yeah, thank you. Jahan Dotson's been pretty good, wide receiver for the Commanders. Bills coming back from, 20 to 3?
Yeah, Ravens bottled this one.
Bottled it big time. Do you reckon these are number 1 and number 2 for the MVP race through 4 rounds?
Yeah,
Josh Allen and
Lamar might be
Jackson?
ahead. He's scoring better than he did in his MVP season already. So, again, we're only a month in, but yeah, it's that's a big battle there in the AFC.
Jordan Poyer had 2 picks. He was Defensive Player of the Week in this one. We don't often mention the defensive players. I know that grinds your gears a little bit. Chuck him in there, you know. How about this game? Seahawks.
That's why I'm a Denver supporter.
Good D. Seahawks.
3 and outs. Yes, more defense.
The opposite of that was this game. The Seattle Seahawks 48, the Detroit Lions 45. Detroit have scored the most points in the league. They're 1-3.
And they did that. Was this the game they didn't? Yeah. No Swift.
They're all gone, and
more
of them dropped in this game as well.
Oh, speaking of fantasy, an interesting stat I saw: the Browns are all in the top 10. The Moors are all outside the 50.
So if you went Brown heavy this year, you're going good, and more. So DJ Moore, Elijah Moore,
Sky Moore,
yes,
yeah, they're 3.
And
Crazy.
Browns, Amon-Ra, AJ,
and Hollywood.
There you go. What about Antonio Brown? Does he get thrown into the mix? He's out there white whaling, black whaling. Can you say that? I don't know. Antonio Brown probably could have got him up this week.
Whale shark. Let's say with a big fin out of the water.
Killer whale. What do you got? Killer whale. It's a bit black. It's a bit white. Just one of the most intelligent creatures in the ocean. Anyways, Jared Goff, he was pretty good. 378 yards, 4 touchdowns. Jamal Williams has been very good in the absence of DeAndre Swift. And TJ Hawkinson, I think he was the highest scoring fantasy player in week 4.
It was interesting because TJ beat like a whole bunch of really good teams by himself, like fantasy teams. We were talking about there was guys that would have. I think this is a week that I can't remember exactly, but I saw lists.
If you ever pick the worst team, but of actual starters, and it's always dreadful.
And you're just like, and they got if you had this team, they would have scored 36 points, whereas TJ scored 39 on his own. So
again, just goes to show how much luck is involved in fantasy football. Not a whole lot of skill. If you're 0-4, you probably still know a lot about football, and if you're 3-1, probably just lucky.
Doubt.
How did the Seahawks win this game? So Geno was nearly perfect. Rashad Penny, they pounded the rock with him. DK was pretty good.
This is DK shit game too, wasn't it? He had to be carted off.
I had to go take a shit. I was like, he didn't have a shit game, man. He had 7 catches, 149 yards. They had to cut him off, and they're like, "Oh no, what's going on with DK?" Like there was a lot of pandemonium around it at the time, and then DK was straight back out there. Had to shit real bad.
He said the waddle wouldn't have made it, bro. So I needed the cart.
I did hear this week that from their sideline to the opposition sheds. In Detroit, it's actually the longest trip out of all 32 stadiums in the NFL. So there you go, a little bit of trivia there for you. Jets and Steelers, this was a bit of a yawn-ish game, but Jets getting the win. Kenny Pickett didn't start, came in, threw 3 picks, did have 2 rushing touchdowns.
Yes. And is going to be the starter going forward.
Zach Wilson's back, baby, and he's back sliding into DMs at Giselle Bundchen. Giants, Bears, the G-Men are 3-1, and they threw for 71 yards in this game. I think that's maybe more of a testament to where the Bears are at than the Giants being that good.
Yeah, well, we're talking I think Cooper Kupp's got more receptions than Fields has completions this year already, which is crazy.
Obscene.
But yeah, it's where the Bears are at. And the Giants, they're not getting passing yards. They've got probably one of the most well-known name kind of receiving call that's under-delivering. So
Kenny Golladay.
Yeah, where he's getting paid.
I think he's getting 18 mil a year or something.
Yep. Yeah. And so people have been calculating how much his drops are costing. So it's been rough. And then Tony hasn't been playing. They just lost Sharp to the ACL, so he's done for the year. And then they've got another young guy that's just come out of nowhere. And so who knows?
Receiver.
Yeah, receiver.
Richie James.
Might be.
I'm Richie James.
But either way, the calves. Saquon, that's where the Giants at. There,
calves or quads? I think it's
both. The legs, bro. They will ride him as far as they possibly can, and which could be a concern. Got
considering
30,
the injury
30
history and the rest of it. But he's been old Saquon. Saquon is cooking.
Yeah. We'll see if we get up to 400 plus carries, what that looks like towards the end of the year. But anyway,
Titans, Colts, Titans. Finding their mojo a little bit. They just did Tannehill, complete your passes, feed the king, back to their winning ways. Jonathan Taylor, a bit of a non-factor in this one. What is his why did he miss Thursday Night Football? Anyone know that?
Foot for him.
It's not looking like it's long-term, is it?
No. I know Burks from this game also injured turf toe on IR for...
That's a shame. We're big on Traylon Burks coming into this
He'll miss 4
season
games as well. Yeah, there's... IR's very heavy at the moment. There's a bunch of guys getting hurt all over the place.
Eagles went 4-0, did mention that. Beat the Jags. Miles Sanders went off in that one. Cards beat the Panthers. CMC didn't do much on the ground, but got the job done receiving for his fantasy managers at least. 9 catches, 81 yards. And Hollywood Brown, speaking of, about the Browns being all in the top 10, he had 6 catches, 88 yards, and a TD.
I feel like he's the most targeted wide receiver
in the league.
In the league at the moment.
Does that include Cooper Kupp?
Yes.
Wow.
Because Murray's looking his way exclusively.
Yeah. Yes. Hollywood. Did you catch Broncos? Mm-hmm. Went down to the Raiders 32-23. Yeah. They got Josh Jacobs.
Yes. Well, Melvin Gordon fumbling for picks, return for a touchdown was probably the big differences.
Has he fumbled 5 times this year, Melvin Gordon?
Yep. And he's fumbled... In his last 12 games, he's fumbled at least once. He fumbled in that game against the Colts, but luckily his knee was down. Yeah.
I suppose the big sad storyline of this one was Javonte Williams, ACL.
Yes, ACL, and then Rennie Gregory as well on injured reserve for us too. So lost 2 more starters in that one. Lost another 2 against the Colts. I think we're up to 8 starters and 10 guys on injured reserve at the moment for Denver. So
not looking good.
No, not healthy at all.
I didn't think this was going to be an ACL. We spoke about it during the week. It's not the common mechanism for an ACL. And I watched a little video. There's these people on YouTube. They're actual doctors. They're called the fantasy doctors, and they're orthopedic surgeons. And they took a look at it, and they didn't think it was going to be an ACL. And then the scans came back, and it was. So it's devastating for Javonte, who's been really good in his sophomore year.
Huge out for Denver, and a struggling offense as well.
I think he's only 22. I think he came into the league pretty young. So hopefully it's a good rehab, and we see him back fighting fit in 2023.
Well, I think I said to you guys, it was a very similar injury to what J.K. Dobbins had done, and he's only just come back from injuring it, I think week 3 last year, and he just came back in week 4. So that's the kind of timeline people think of. But yeah, it's a big loss.
Were you talking about targets before with Hollywood Brown?
Yes. Today,
fourth.
Yeah.
It might be target share. You could have heard that.
He's still up there.
They talk about percentage, target share. So it could be that. But yeah, anyways, 4th. Who's 2 and 3? Cortland Sutton is 3. Devontae Adams 2. That makes sense. Yep. Interesting. Packers did beat the Patriots in overtime. Probably this game a little bit closer than Cheesehead fans would have liked. Rodgers not too bad other than the pick 6 that he threw. Was really starting to see that 2-pronged running back room with AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones. Receivers, it's still hard for sort of fantasy and punting purposes. Lazard was good in this one. Romeo Dobbs, pretty good outside of a fumble. Christian Watson, not doing a whole lot, but he did score on an end around, rushing touchdown. He was their 2nd round pick who had that big drop in week 1 where he pretty much dropped what would have been a 75-yard walk-in touchdown on the Packers' first play from scrimmage. So a really good confidence booster for him, thinking, okay, I can still be involved in this team, and they still trust me handling the ball in the red zone.
Yeah, I think we said it previewing the rookies that first month isn't really where they're going to do their job. It's post that you want to see them get in and get involved. So we'll see what that looks like. Post that.
Yeah, that poor fella. He's like the comments were turned off on his Instagram and shit. Yeah. Like I think there would have been a lot of people.
Well, they expected him to come in and be Devontae Adams
straight away.
It wasn't going to happen.
Exactly. Exactly. It was one drop. Start of the year. Anyways, any Packers fans will know Mason Crosby was pretty ordinary last year. Lost a few games off his boot. Got the job done as time expired up there at Lambeau. Mac Jones injury. Who's
back?
Back this week. So
Back. Back injury. Sorry, he's injured his back. I don't bit of lost in translation.
Playing. Yeah, I think it's Bailey Zappi going to go again.
Yes. Because they put Hoyer on injured reserve.
Anyone know anything about this Bailey Zappi?
Nope.
No.
Besides, he looks like the dude that play Mac Jones in a Netflix documentary.
Yeah, wish Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Howdy Mac Jones. Bailey Zappi, monks, what have we got there for him? 6'1", 220, right arm. So
what college is he out of?
Houston Baptist, Western Kentucky.
Wow.
Middle of bumfuck
real
nowhere.
Yeah.
College starts.
Is he undrafted? No, 4th round. There you go.
Yeah.
Needed Steam, resident Patriots fan there to tell us.
Yes.
4th round draft pick there, Bailey Zappi. Chiefs Bucks. Chiefs looking very, very good. Tom Brady was pretty bloody good in this. 385 yards, 3 touchdowns. Problem is the Bucks were behind the whole game. Obviously chasing, didn't establish a run. They ran for 3 yards. Mike Evans, I just in my other fantasy league traded Dalvin Cook for Mike Evans because my receivers are shot and I've got Derrick Henry. So I was like, I need to do something here. Mike Evans has, I think, a touchdown in like 10 consecutive games or something crazy, or 10 of 12. I don't know, making up stats here. But I know in the Brady era in Tampa Bay, he's loved throwing to Mike Evans. Anyways, they did lose. The Chiefs are starting, other than that loss to the Colts, which is a real head scratcher, starting to look like the Chiefs of old. Yeah. CEH been very good. Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Travis Kelce, him and Andrews, and then Daylight for tight ends in the league.
I think wide receivers for them is a bit of an interesting.
They're not really using it. They've got that
exactly.
Marcus Valdez-Scantling. They got Juju who getting the ball a little bit. That Sky Moore has done absolutely nothing really. A few people had him as been a bit of a breakout. Yeah. But yeah, it doesn't really seem to affect them.
No, it doesn't.
It's the way their playbook, like the way that Andy draws that playbook.
My question is, come playoffs, will that make a difference? And I don't want to break Ricken's heart. And think of the Chiefs.
He loves the Chiefs.
They're a great side. They're a great side. But it's it'd be interesting to see once they get into those better defenses and playoff football, whether they miss some of those options. But a long way to go before we get to there.
Yeah, and I don't know if it is going to be their main concern. I think their defense is their main concern more so than anything. Marcus Valdez-Scantling, like I watched a fair bit of him at Green Bay. Really good deep threat. And if they can get Juju to work a bit of the shorter stuff, I think they're pretty set.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about Tom Brady and with his future outlook at all?
We can. So
I think the main thing from this is probably the memes.
So many memes.
Many memes. we don't want to comment on his
personal
life, family falling apart, etc. But
when you first mentioned this to me 6 weeks ago or whatever, I was like, this isn't happening. This is just a medium bust up. Like they're the power couple, and now I'm kind of like, if they can't do it, like who can? Like it's actually made me a little bit sad.
Yeah, but I think some of the things is Tom Brady destroys his family so he can go and play for the Bucks and lose in the wild card game. It was just like, oh, bro. And then some of the, like, Giselle's going to get 3.5 rings, but Tom Brady might get an extra $150 million because she's worth more than he is.
Yeah, but that don't take into account that sweet commentating gig that he's got lined up.
True,
I don't
true.
think.
But I don't think he can count money not earned.
But I'm just saying,
Child support might be a bit high.
Yeah, child support. I hadn't thought of that. And then also, I hate to say it, but Victoria's Secret models in their 50s probably going to take a little bit of a slide.
It'll be. I don't know. It could be. They've the chat during the week was they lawyered up. It couldn't be more.
Yeah. It's going to happen.
Well, I'm not sure if it could be like a step in. They're trying to push each other, and like, hey, we really need to do something. Tom, I know you focus wholly on football, but hey, maybe you need to start thinking about family. But who knows? If you look at Tom Brady's Twitter, he's gotten rid of the family. He's gone from family and football to just football, and it's just a picture of him now. So,
is that for real?
I believe so. You can check it out.
Can you also look up Brandy Love Twitter? No, don't do that. Don't do it, especially if you're listening to this and you're at work. There was a short film actress that was offering Tom Brady a rebound.
Yeah, who wouldn't want a Tom Brady baby mama like
in an explicit way? A very not safe for work. Very need to preface that if you're sending it to people and they're at work on a Friday. Way.
Well, we didn't mention Zach Wilson's greedy, but he was
straight in, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he said Giselle. Was that for real as well?
No, it's jokes.
Okay. It's hard to tell, man. Photoshop, deep fakes.
It was all jokes, but
I don't know what life is anymore.
It's
a family football.
Right.
You got Photoshop too there, bro. That's like you can't do that. Like, could you imagine?
Yeah.
Anyways, the memes have been good. We don't like to speculate on people's private lives. I suppose because they're so massive. It's kind of like who gives a like.
Well, he's the GOAT. Like it's. And he retired, he came back, and then
the kids
Giselle's not happy with that. And they're just in a shit place.
The thing that
hopefully they can work it out. But yeah, Brady by all accounts looks like he's lost about 20 pounds. He's looking super skinny. So whether hasn't been eating well, kind of things, and like there's a whole bunch of stuff off field which is probably playing in his mind, and it hasn't affected his on field playing yet. But who knows going forward.
And I'll just before we throw away the personal side of things as well. Those kids at 15, 12 and 9 or something, I feel for them and how publicly that's all played out. That's why we don't really like to talk about that much on the Esky, rather talk sport than gossip, I suppose. 49ers beat the Rams. The Rams looking pretty ordinary. The 49ers looking pretty good. No Trey Lance, no worries. Jimmy G doing a job off the back of arguably the best defense in the league right now.
Yep.
Arguably, questionably.
Yep.
Debo looking very good.
That's the game plan. Play good D, give the ball to Debo.
And Rams Super Bowl hangover. It's a thing, man. Super Bowl hangover.
They haven't, and they haven't found an OBJ replacement or a Woods replacement. So
it was meant to be Allen Robinson. He's not doing diddly squad outside of Cooper Kupp.
It's Higbee. That's
it. Tyler Higbee's been pretty good, but the rest of that offense, like Cam Akers, has been. No good.
They got nothing in the running back room, and their line just hasn't been as good. They just, of course, no Whitworth, etc. But the defense will keep them in games, but they're just not there. They're just lacking something. Unfortunately.
Week 5, the Colts.
Speaking of lacking something,
this game lacked everything. One of the biggest snooze fests I've ever seen. A lot of vitriol towards Russell Wilson this week, especially even from his own fans. A lot of them were leaving this game in the last few minutes when the game was on the line.
Yeah, they were leaving. They're not happy. I'd say it's not purely Wilson. It's on the head coach's bit because he's, first time play calling, first time as the head coach doing both jobs at the same time. So they're still learning, and he, not making the right calls. New offense. They're young. They really haven't found what they want.
Thank you, Rickon. Broncos country. Let's hide.
Well, I saw let's
ride off a cliff.
Right off a cliff. So
that was on Sports Centre. The Sports Centre lead.
Yeah, it's they're just struggling, and I'm not unsurprised, honestly. So and losing Javonte Williams as well.
That hurts.
I mentioned, they're banged up. They lost Bowles in this as well, and Derby. So add another 2 starters to that injured reserve. Gone, both ACLs gone for. Actually, no. Bowles has broken leg, but gone for season. Needs surgery.
Yeah.
So they're in a tough spot. Wilson had a torn lat. Had surgery today on his throwing arm. Yeah. So
he's playing injured.
Yeah, obviously from the Raiders game supposedly. So he played injured. So. And Ricken threw in here the Hamler, who was wide open. They didn't throw it to him.
He didn't look at him.
But I think that's chemistry. Hamler's caught one pass outside of that. So and
he's good, man. He's like a fast, shifty little player.
I 100% agree, but I think he's 2nd or 3rd game back in the squad.
Yeah.
And look at Judy. Judy hasn't been involved in this offense either. They're just not happy. They're unsure. I think it also goes with the play calling and the confusion in the play calling, and there's some comments about that as well. And he's just locked in Sutton. Great for my fantasy team.
Yeah, sure.
The reason I picked him because I knew this was coming.
But not good for Denver.
Not good for Denver. They've got a good defense, will keep them in games like this, and they probably should have ran the ball instead of trying to throw.
Definitely should have.
Richard
Sherman, run the ball.
Yeah. Well, even before that, when they was 9-6, instead of throwing the intercept into the end zone, essentially trying to win the game. They were, let's kill this game off. Let's get a touchdown. They could have got first down and just run the clock and won it there. But I think it's all over a learning process. And I'm not going to say right the whole year off, but I kind of figured the first month would go like this.
It might be right the whole year off because the AFC West. We've seen the Chiefs doing Chiefs things. Chargers probably been a touch below what people expected, but and losing to the Raiders.
Well, Chargers is the same thing. They're hurt. I think both Chargers and Denver, they're banged up squads at the moment. So see if they can get some of those guys back, and maybe I think they're both for them sneaking in as a wild card is what you're looking at. But it's just going to be a long year, unfortunately.
Let's run through these games pretty quickly. Week 5 games, Monk's stats. Statsman on my right. Odds, please. Giants take on Packers over in London. Both teams 3-1.
First time there's 2 teams over 500 playing in London.
There you go.
Really? Wow.
I guess they probably assumed Giants wouldn't be over 500 when they booked this game, but anyway.
Packers playing over there is pretty big. Often, you see the Jaguars go over there a fair bit. Falcons have been over a fair bit. Not massive. Well, big teams going over.
Yeah.
Packers here.
Yeah, Packers.
Yeah,
odds
Packers, and the odds reflect that they're $1.24. The Giants are out at $4 at the moment. We've got a handicap or line of 7.5. Total match points of 41.5.
Saquon Barkley at $2.08 any time is pretty juicy considering how much he's been getting fed. Seahawks take on the Saints in New Orleans. The Hawks are 2-2. The Saints desperate for a win, 1-3. Jameis back this week.
That was my question. Is he and Kamara back? Because they're $1.38, so they're heavy favourites. If that's the case, I'd pick. If they're not back, pick Seahawks.
I'll chase that up, Monks. If you can run us through the odds, please.
Yeah. So Saints are favourites, as you mentioned, $1.44. Seahawks are out at $2.82. Line is 4.5. Total match points 45.5.
It's going to be a game day decision by the looks. Winston, Mike Thomas still not practicing.
Kamara as well on that list?
Yeah.
Scroll. Here we go.
Kamara, they're all limited practice. So
limited, he'll probably play. But the others, with the...
Yeah. Winston and Thomas did not practice, and Kamara was limited. If you're down under, set the alarm, have a look. At 3:55, we're at 4 o'clock games now, which is good for the early window. And when they go off their daylight savings, we'll go to 5 a.m.
That's a good thing. Denver's in prime time.
They've been in prime time 3 out of the first 4 weeks.
Yeah, and then prime time next week.
Yeah, so it's going to be 4 out of 6 weeks, I think, that they've been in prime time.
Oh well. They were banking on Wilson being better, and the question is because. More for the head coach. They were all put in place before the new ownership, and the new ownership, billions of dollars, wants to win football games. So I have no idea how short that leash is. That were my concern.
Old short leash. Speaking of, I don't know if there's any leash issues here with Kenny Pickett. He's going to have his first official start against the Buffalo Bills. Good luck, son, up there at Buffalo. Steelers are 1-3. The Bills are 3-1. They'll be handy favourites. Bills. What are they? What are the odds?
Yeah, almost. I'm bettable here at $1.10. Steelers are out at $7. Line of 14.5. Total match points of 45.5.
I'd be taking Bills with a line. I
with a
reckon.
line?
Yeah, 14.5. What about I nearly said try scorer markets. Touchdown scorer markets. Stefan, $1.91. Stefan Diggs. Josh Allen, $2.30. I think both of those are pretty juicy.
Yeah. I think George Pickens is probably the watch for Steelers fans with Pickett coming in.
The chemistry, the pit chemistry.
Yep.
We didn't speak about it because we had a few weeks off because someone joined the married/newly divorcee club, or soon to be divorcee. Soon to be divorcee. That's got a bit of rhyme to it. That George Pickens catch a couple of weeks ago. Oh my Lanta. If you haven't seen that, if you're a casual NFL fan, just check out George Pickens catch. Chuck that into the YouTubes and enjoy. Bills. Yeah. What's the bleeding going to be like? You'd think.
Yeah.
Bears take on the Vikings. The Vikings are 3-1. They're going to be short favourites here. They're looking down the barrel of 4-1. Minnesota fans would be loving that. Kirk Cousins playing pretty well.
It's not in prime time, so
Vikings. No prime time Cousins.
Yeah.
I think they win this pretty comfortably. I think the Bears are lucky to be 2-2. Yep. Probably got away with one in week 1 with the monsoon weather and playing the 49s that week.
Yep.
I think 2-2 is probably a little bit better than this Bears team is.
Agree.
Vikings.
Yep. Looks like it. They are favourites at $1.26. The Bears are $3.90. Line of 7.5. Total match points 43.5. And anytime touchdown for Justin Jefferson, $2.03. Dalvin Cook's $1.90.
Also juicy.
Can you do me a favour and add the GP to that? See if it's going to start in a couple of minutes.
Just
split it.
It's nearly 4 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time, which means F1 viewing on a Sunday afternoon rather than late Sunday night. Texans, Jags. This is the toilet bowl of this week. Although the Jaguars have been better.
They're off. You don't have their. What are they? They're 2-2.
They're 2-2. They're 2-2. Sorry, I can't do it all. Feel free to add notes, guys. Feel free to add notes.
No. Their offense has been actually very good.
Hasn't it? And their defense sneaky good. Sneaky good.
So I think they'll get past the Texans here.
I'll go the Jags here too. I think they're 2-2. I'm pretty sure they're 2-2. Monks, the odds?
Yep.
I'm asking you to do a lot here.
There are. No. Jags are favourites. $1.27. Houston is out at $3.78. Have a line of 6.5. So touchdown in it. And total match points of 43.5. And that record.
Desmond? AFC South.
Where are we? Yep.
Desmond 2-2. Currently leading the AFC South.
Yeah, AFC South becomes a bit of the poo division at the moment.
Yeah, Titans have really taken a step back. Hard to believe the Titans were the 1 seed last year.
Colts have been bad as well.
Yes.
They snuck past Denver in that game that Denver really handed to them.
How the fuck did the Colts beat the Chiefs? That's what I was wondering when I was watching that game. I was like, what? Like, this is... Yeah, some 2 offenses really stinking it up.
Yep.
Finns take on the Jets. Both been maybe a little bit better than people expected. Finns are 3-1. Jets and 2-2. Tua is confirmed not playing this weekend, so it'll be Teddy Bridgewater up against Zach Wilson. I'm going to go the Finns.
I might go an upset.
Yeah, no. Someone needed it. We're agreeing with each other, although a lot of short, odd games.
Yeah.
That'd be fun for the division. If the Jets win this and they both go to 3-2, you think the Bills win this division pretty comfortably. So then the Patriots haven't been awful either. So make it really interesting.
Dolphins beat Bills, didn't they?
Yes.
So they will have that over them. But yeah, I think without...
I'm talking like it's a long season. Surely the Bills will.
Yes. I think without Tua in that squad... which is a surprise to say. Like, they were way better with Tua playing in there.
He's good, man.
He gelled with the receivers straight away.
Yeah.
So.
It's good. And for all the off-season hate and look at him underthrow Tyreek again, blah, blah, blah. He's still an NFL NFL caliber quarterback.
I don't know who to go with this one. I'll go Dolphins as the favourites. They're $1.55. Jets are $2.74. 47, sorry. Have a line of 3.5, total match points of 45.5.
You've seen there's been some, I can't really remember off the top of my head, but some ridiculous stats around Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, like them in the same game, getting receptions galore and touchdowns galore, and doing things for Dolphins fans. Falcons take on the Bucks. Bucks $1.20. Both these teams are Desmond Tutu. I'll go the Bucks to win this one, although the Falcons haven't been as putrid as a lot of people had expected. Obviously no Cordero Patterson. We spoke about Tyler Algier earlier on in the episode.
Yep. Bucks for me. I think the big out's Kyle Pitts, probably the biggest bust in fantasy land. I just don't think the new coaching staff over there knows what to do with him.
Which is a shame.
Yeah, big
like
time.
a generationally talented tight end. And we saw what he could do in his rookie year.
Yep. That's it.
Can you shrink that banner, by the way? Just because of sports. Thank you.
Yes, Bucks. They are favourites $1.18. Falcons are at $4.60. We have a line of 10.5, total match points of 46.5.
Give us that, putting the shed on it.
$1.90.
That's pretty close to shed. What else we got here? Early window. Titans Commanders. This is maybe the first one where the tip is going to be more interesting outside of Sean's Jets upset. Titans 2-2. Commanders 1-3. Commanders defense can be good on its day. I think Derrick Henry gets fed, and I'm hoping for one of my fantasy teams that he has another big outing. I'm going to say no's for the Titans.
Yeah, I think Titans probably be favourites in. Commanders, I think Dotson's hurt.
It's a shame because he's been so good.
He's been really
Been so good. Brian Robinson came off the pup list, didn't he?
Play in this game, unsure how much, but that'll be worth watching.
That's wild, considering the bloke had a bullet in his leg 6 weeks ago.
Yeah. Stole that starting job from Gibson, so we'll see what kind of role he has.
Is that confirmed? They've named him as the starter?
Well, he got shot the week before they kind of announced.
So it was looking that way.
Well, they were using Gibson on kick returns. So
Yeah.
I think the writing was on the wall at that point in the preseason.
That's massive considering how good Antonio Gibson's been. That probably speaks highly of how good Brian
fumbleitis, I think, has been Gibson's issue.
Got the Melvin Gordon juju.
Yes. Yeah. But anyway, we'll see. That's probably the main thing to watch out of this game is the running backs.
Yep.
As a Titans for me.
Yeah, I'll go Titans as well.
Wow, 3 Titans at $1.85. That's a curse. The Froggett is cursed.
We've got to have a curse in there as well.
Have to.
Somewhere. No, they are favourites at $1.85. Wow. Nearly had a stroke there.
Minty.
Yeah. Perhaps you're not supposed to put that in his mouth. My nose. It was by accident.
Oh, jeez. Commanders are underdogs $1.96. Lions 1.5. Total match points 42.5.
This could be a smash the unders kind of situation.
Definitely.
What is the unders?
42.5.
Yeah.
The strokes on both ends here.
No, it wasn't a stroke. I was just trying to remove the image of your nose in his mouth.
I'm just saying if I had to give mouth to mouth, it would probably get in the way.
All right. Chargers Browns.
This is a cool game as well. Both these teams are 2-2. Probably talent wise, the Chargers want to sort of assert themselves as being able to go far in the AFC this year. Jacoby Brissett and the Browns haven't been too bad.
I think if you look at what Cooper's doing over there now at the moment, Njoku, and then have a look at, say, what the Panthers are doing, and you'll be like, who's the common denominator in this? So I really like the Browns. Myles Garrett back this week after rolling his car, his Porsche. I think he dodged a deer and lost control and ended up rolled it a couple of times. Luckily, no injury.
Wow,
missed a week.
And the deer just disappeared. Wasn't seen again.
Yeah, so Miles back, which is huge. And I might go another upset here and go the Browns. I do like the Browns in this one. Chargers with Bosa on injury reserve have been leaking runs left, right and centre.
They are banged up as well.
Yeah, and with potentially a full chub in this, they could be in trouble.
Oh, they're getting full chub. There's only full chub this year.
Yeah.
I'm going to go the Chargers. I think they're talented enough to beat this Browns team. Very banged up. Do you need to see Austin Eckler starting to? They worked him last week. He had 3 touchdowns. Had been very ordinary by his lofty standards the first 3 weeks. Need to rinse and repeat that one. I'm going to go the Chargers.
I think I'll go the Brownies as well. Yeah.
It's pretty close, the odds, isn't it?
Yeah, close. They are $2. Charges are $1.81. We've got a line of 1.5. Total match points 47.5. And Chubb anytime touchdown $1.83.
Cash. What's his rushing line? Can you find that? Whilst you look for that, I'll talk about the first game in the late window. Those Panthers, just you spoke about the quarterback play there, maybe less than desirable from Baker. Always has a chance to come down and play for the Penrith Panthers, as per the Today Show. They're taking on the 49ers, who look really, really good against the Rams. The 49ers are 2-2. I think the 49ers will be too strong for them in this one. Chubb's rushing line is 92.5. Wow. Okay. I was thinking like maybe if it was like 60 or 70, you'd pump the overs. That's there's a reason why that line is high.
Yep.
Yeah. Full Chubb has been released this year. Release the Chubb. Panthers, 49ers, boys. I've gone 49ers. Sean, 49ers, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Odds,
49ers,
odds.
They are favourites $1.34. Panthers are $3.29. Have a line of 6.5 and total match points of 39.5.
Very low, isn't it? That's
very low. That
speaks volumes to where this 49ers defense is at. This could be a Carolina under 10 points kind of game here. Eagles are the last undefeated team left in the NFL. They take on the Cards in Arizona. I'm going to go Cardinals. I only picked favourites, I think, pretty much so far. So I'm gonna mix it up. I think all good things must come to an end. Nelly Furtado, all good things must come to an end. Shout out to Nelly. A bit of a stretch, perhaps. I'm going to go for no other reason than it's very hard to go 5-0, 6-0 in this league. I'm going to go the Cardinals. Sure.
I'm going to Eagles in this.
5-0 Philly.
I'll have to check to see if it's a Call of Duty double XP weekend first before picking a card.
Chat.
Because you know the history there. I think I still do like the Eagles. They're kind of rounding into a really, really good football team, and their defense is starting to getting into it.
That defense is nasty, man, and all they've got to do really is run that read option with Jalen Hurts, and if they start knuckling down on Hurts like the Jags did on the weekend, Miles Sanders had himself a day.
Exactly.
I'll have to go Eagles here. They are favourites at $1.40. The Cards are $2.96. We have a line of 5.5.
Give us a touchdown scorer, Max. You pick one. You just pick one.
All right. I mean, Jalen Hurts 5.
Hard to go past.
Hard to go past that one.
You know what I like there? Hollywood Brown. $3.
Yeah.
That's not
top 10 Browns. And this is a big one. Cowboys Rams. Cowboys are 3-1. I think we're starting to see the potential of this team. It's no different really to how they've been the last few years, but a few things have been clicking. Is there anything to? It's more of a meme than anything. Cooper Rush getting these wins and Dak Prescott not really being able to, or he's just being the game manager in a good team.
Yeah, don't know. It'll be an interesting question because I think Dak's due back in a week or two.
Yeah. Purely being devil's advocate there, I do think Dak Prescott is the more talented kind of guy, but Cooper's Rush. His record's starting to speak for itself. If he wins these next 2 games and ends up going 6-0 as a starter, it's going to be a really interesting conversation. I'll go the Rams there. I think they're way too short. They've been not the Super Bowl winning team that we saw last year by any means of the imagination. So I'll go the Rams here. Rams for you?
Yeah, I'll stick Rams.
The odds, I think this is some of the worst value you see.
Yeah. I'll go the Rams if they're probably playing in dust. I'd probably go Cowboys, but they are favourites at $1.40. Cowboys are $2.96.
That's a bit of value there. That is a bit of value.
The line is 5.5. Total match points of 41.5.
Cooper Cup, $1.73. Anytime touchdown scorer, that's still pretty juicy. This is a cool Sunday night fixture. AFC North, defending champs, Bengals, 2-2 Bengals. Defending AFC champs. Caveat. Going up against the Ravens, who could be the AFC North champs this year, although their 2-2 record probably doesn't suggest how good they've been playing. Obviously, bottling that game against the Bills last weekend. What do we think here? This one's hard to pick. I'm going to go Ravens.
Yeah, I think Ravens as well. Bengals have been a bit unders yet. They haven't kind of regained their form that ran them into the Super Bowl.
Well, their offensive line was meant to be juiced up this year, and they've been horrendous.
Yeah. So
block for that man.
And the Ravens, I think, are starting to round into what we expect Ravens to be. Who's in the North?
Yes, I can chase aim again. This is much like.
Because I'm thinking Steelers are down, Browns are down.
Yeah, they would be.
I think so. Yeah,
it'll be.
Who else is in that division? I've forgotten.
That's these two teams and those two teams.
Oh yes, and Bengals. Yeah.
I'll chase up the AFC North. Season stats.
Yep.
This is much like that Cowboys Rams game. I think the Ravens are a little bit too short there for my liking.
Yeah. I'm saying that I'm going to back the Bengals in.
Yeah, that's value.
Yeah, underdogs $2.45. Ravens are $1.56. We do have a line of 3.5.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that line. And I think I've tipped the Ravens, but I think $1.56 is too short. See, it's not really a flip of the coin here. The Ravens are at $1.90 and the Bengals are at $2.88 to take out the AFC North this year. And then you've got a big jump down to the Browns at $4.50. I think that's wouldn't be worrying about that. 21s for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Monday Night Football, AFC West, big matchup. The Raiders have started 1-3. They did start 0-3 and got that win against the hapless Broncos last week. But the Chiefs, they're starting to look like the Kansas City Chiefs of old. I think they'll be short. Odds, that is. I think they should win this. I think CH and Kelsey put up big numbers again for your fantasy football teams and punters out there.
Yeah,
Chiefs.
agreed.
Yep.
Chiefs.
Yeah, I agree.
Chiefs. They are favourites at $1.29. The Raiders are $3.62. We've got a line of 7.5. And Kelsey, anytime touchdown scorer, is $1.84.
Cash.
Yep.
That will wrap up the week. It's buys this week now, is it? Is there buys?
Not this week.
Because we didn't talk about a Lions.
No.
We didn't talk about a Lions game then. Is there buys?
Oh, what are we, week? Yes,
It's
I think
five.
week
I think
5.
it's the first week of the buys because we didn't talk about the Lions, and I'm trying to think of another team that we didn't talk about.
The Lions are playing the Patriots.
Okay. Well, that's what it is. We've missed a game. Lions and Patriots.
That was in the
Do we
early
miss a game?
window.
Early window? Yeah, I don't think we spoke about that.
Wow.
Let's fuck it. Go off the top of our heads. Bailey Zappi going up against Jared Goff. I think the Lions going to win.
Yeah, I'm going to go
I'm
Lions.
going to go Lions. Monks, you should be able to find some odds. Pretty quick sticks there. Yeah, it's right there. $1.57 for the Patriots. $2.42. We're both off the top of their heads with no odds. We picked the underdogs.
Yeah.
The Lions are banged up. That's
True,
only,
but
that's their
their
only
offense
problem.
has been really good.
It is.
So,
It is.
I'm going to stick with it. I still like Lions.
Punt the unders overs is 45 in this game.
45. Yeah.
With the Lions have been scoring about 36, 37 a game so far.
It's whether the Patriots come to the party or not.
Well, I think they will with the Lions defense playing the way they have as well.
True.
Allegedly, Hunter Henry, anytime touchdown scorer, $3.90. He's scored a touchdown at each of the Patriots' last 2 home games against an NFC opponent.
Thanks, unofficial sponsor Sportsbet. Please gamble responsibly. And yes, no buys this week. That was just
Next week. I think week 6 is when buy starts, so it'll be next week.
beauty. Talking of starting this week, next week, the NBA. Let's go.
Yeah.
Big story for the wrong reasons. It's the first one that we'll be discussing. Draymond Green punching Jordan Poole in the face at practice. The video got leaked in the last few days. Did you boys see the leaked footage? Doesn't look very good.
No, it's bad.
Doesn't look good at all.
Have you seen people editing like the UFC commentary reaction, like Rogan got
Oh!
there you go. Exactly that. Beautiful.
You know what we need to do? We need to maybe fuck off 2.5, 3 hour podcasts, spend about 10 minutes editing some of those videos and just let them do their work because that is funny.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's exactly what it was.
That's funny.
What I saw today, the rumours was that Paul's been on Green's ass in practice for the last week or so. Giving him shit about his free throws, about bricking things, etc. Getting stuck into him, and it sounds like again in practice they were mouthing off. Green's gone over and given him a chest bump, and then Paul's pushed him off, and then Green's come through with the right straight and laid him the fuck out.
Big haymaker, man. That's dangerous. That's like one punch kind of shit. Like, obviously Paul's okay, but
wasn't expecting to get punched to practice in a basketball match.
Yeah, you don't expect to get sucker punched by a teammate like that.
So I think the club's trying to deal with it all internally, etc. But
and that's interesting as well, because internally, surely they're not going to sanction Draymond. Like, it would just be a fine. They're not going to suspend him internally.
He is stepping away from the team indefinitely.
Ah,
well, he has
when
to
did that come out?
That's
after
come out today.
Yeah, I was going to say
after the video, because which and TMZ got the video and reports that they offered the video coordinator $2.6 million for the video because it's huge.
Yeah.
Because otherwise that video wouldn't leak.
No, exactly. And it would have been, there's an incident, there was nothing in it. Boys will be boys kind of thing.
Exactly. So TMZ's done everyone a solid there and gone away and got that video. Be a bit of trouble there for for the Golden State Warriors. Leading in a week away from the season starting.
I tell you who'd love this, because I think it's a contract year for Draymond as well. So they'd be going, well, we'll race on you, but you're getting peanuts compared to what you could have had.
Well, I think some of the stuff that Paul was getting stuck into about is like, it's his last year stuff. You're going to get moved on. The big three doesn't include you, kind of thing.
Bands. Surely bands.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, like, we have bands, and sometimes I do feel like putting one of those mostly on your chin, sometimes yours, but mostly yours. But it's just bands. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're a professional athlete.
And consider how much shit Green talks as well.
Oh, yeah, exactly. We're talking about Luai, man. Walk the walk, talk the talk.
If you're going to dish the medicine out, you might as well.
That was brain snap kind of shit. Yeah, so that's come out today that he's going to be taking indefinite leave.
So
that's probably just him going, oh, well, don't have to play the first fucking, meaningless month of the game. He's got a podcast. So I wonder if he'll keep podcasting and say his thoughts.
I think he'll disappear for a while. Hopefully it all blows over and be back in a month or two time. So we'll have to see.
Draymond. Interesting. Tyler Hero of Carlton Zero, rhyming slang $1 contract extension. That's pretty handy money for a guy that does play starting minutes. He just normally starts on the Pine. The Heat, a lot of people got the Heat going pretty far this year. I'm just bringing up...
they went deep last year.
Yeah. I'll run through these odds in just a second. We'll go through the stories first. Good on him. He's fun to watch. He's a good perimeter player, shoots the three well. A little bit of a dish as well, kind of got that boy band kind of looks about him. There's a rap song about him as well. I think that's true. I don't think that's a figment of my imagination. Tyler Hero rap song. Obviously big in my rap. Oh, it's Jack Harlow. There you go. One of the biggest rappers in the world right now. Shows how much I listen to rap music, but I was aware of it at least. So good on him for getting that contract extension. The Heat, they'll push. They'll push in the East again this year. I want to get one of them retro Miami jerseys. They look pretty cool. They wear, what do they call them? Is it the city jersey or something? It's like the black with the like neon pink, green kind of Miami Vice kind of, Miami Vice, cool show. Yeah. We love Miami Vice. Blake Griffin going to the Celtics, 1 year deal. He might actually have a bit of a role to play early on because big Robert Williams is set to miss at least the first month, maybe two. So they may play Blake Griffin sort of helping out Al Horford, cleaning the glass early on in the year. So interesting to see him go to that Celtics team. who, when we look at the odds, are right up the top there at $7 hairs. The Milwaukee Bucks, $7.50. Brooklyn Nets, $8. Why does everyone sleep on these Golden State Warriors? $8. I suppose it's all very close, isn't it? Much of a muchness at the top there. Yeah. Clippers, $8. I don't know if the Clippers will be that good. Obviously, reliant on a healthy Kawhi Leonard, who we didn't see last year. Drops down a little bit down to the Phoenix Suns at 11s. Philadelphia at 76ers at 17s. Miami Heat 19s. Denver 21. Memphis 23. Dallas 26. Lakers 26 before it starts to blow out just a little bit after that. Boys, NBA season upcoming. What are we excited about? Any bold predictions? I'll start with a bold prediction. Ja Morant MVP. That's my bold prediction.
Yep.
That's my bold prediction.
Yeah, well, I think we talked heaps about him last year. Want to see that growth and, get into that conversation. And I don't want to say go the way that like Luka had, where he hasn't won one yet. But I think
I think he's a short. I think he's the odds-on favourite to win it this year.
Yeah.
I'll chase that up.
But we want to see him, get some support and that team to do really well, going deep into it, especially with Luka. In their comparison to what Luka is and what they're doing over the Mavericks.
Saw a funny Luka meme this year. Jeffrey Dahmer crossover with. I'm not buying the Jeffrey Dahmer. If I wanted to see a white guy kill a bunch of African Americans, I would watch Luka play basketball. Fuck the meme too.
Yeah.
Anyways, Luke has been very, very good in the last few years. Monks, any thoughts? Anything you're excited about upcoming this year?
Not really.
Not really.
Excited about basketball.
Yeah, we're going to get it stuck in the season.
Yeah, got to get stuck into it a little bit more. Interesting to see where the Lakers finish up this year.
Yes.
I know Macca, big fan contributor of the
I actually think
Poddy.
that, what did we say? They were 19s or something. I think that's over. I don't think the Lakers are winning anything this year. Aside from a few games. I'm not saying they're going 0-86 or 0-82, I should say. I don't think they're going 0-82, but yeah, I'd be surprised if they go deep.
They've been on a bit of a slide the last couple of years, seasons, and
I think they'll make playoffs.
They're an old team.
I think they'll be like a 7th or 8th
relying on guys
in the West.
Hurt, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, I think they'll be like a 7th or 8th in the West.
Yeah.
Luka 5-1 for the MVP, followed by the Greek Freak and Joel Embiid at 7s. KD 950, Jokic 950, Tatum 12, Ja 13. So that's a bold prediction. That counts. He's not quite top 5. Steph at 14s is pretty good value. Kawhi comeback here 23. Ageless LeBron 23. Zion in the
he's looking skinny.
Yeah, been hitting that Jenny Craig shit at 23s. Also, someone took a photo of him from inside.
Wendy's.
Yeah, inside Wendy's, and it was him. Again, don't know Photoshop. Pretty fucking funny. The caption being, no Zion, no. But he does look shredded as all anything.
He's had a good preseason.
Yeah. So going to be interesting.
Hopefully be healthy because he's still playing on the Pelicans.
Yeah.
They will need him.
Yeah, I think they could be a pretty good side. They weren't too far down in those
No, they've drafted well in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep rolling.
Keep rolling. EPL match day 10 is currently underway. Chelsea beat Wolves last night. City beat Southampton. Death taxes Erling Haaland. He has 15 Premier League goals from 10 games. The next in the whole Premier League is Harry Kane with 8, so nearly double.
Have you seen the joke that for the World Cup they should allow each team to have one call-up of Haaland to come and join their team? Yep. And I was like, that's an excellent idea. They should definitely do that. The super sub. You just play your card and he comes out and helps you win a game.
Yeah, it's a shame that we're not going to see him at the World Cup. I have been working on a best 11 that won't be at the World Cup. I'll maybe drop that before the World Cup. Comes along, dude, he's going to be rewriting record books this year. The Premier League record, would you believe, is 34. So he's got 20 goals to break that, and they're match day 10, so he's got to get 20 in 28 games. So with his current strike rate, I don't think he can keep that up, but he's going to shit that in. Andy Cole holds that record for you playing at home, and that was a 42-game season as well, so 4 games more than what Haaland's going to have to break this record. It's funny. I thought, has he scored in every game? And what was Jamie Vardy's record? Vardy's record is 11 consecutive Premier League games with a goal. Haaland didn't score against Bournemouth. Of all teams that he didn't find the back of the net, didn't score against Bournemouth. So he's currently on 7 consecutive games with a sausage roll. So 4 more consecutive to equal Vardy's record. Spewing that Norway's not in the World Cup. It's going to be interesting to see in 4 years' time. Actually, no, they'll be there because it's a 48-team World Cup. So it'd be a real crime if they miss the next one.
Yeah, agree.
What else happened? Newcastle looked really good last night against Brentford, smacked them 5-1. Tottenham continuing to play okay. They had a win against Brighton. The big game tonight is Arsenal and Liverpool. Liverpool been unders, Arsenal been overs. I was having this conversation in my soccer society, boys. Who would you rather see win the whole thing? Man City / everyone else? Because as a United fan, probably not going to win the whole thing. I'm like, you can't go for Liverpool. You can't go for Arsenal. I was like, I probably would rather Arsenal. But I think it is all kind of speculation. I think City probably win again this year, as much as it pains me to say.
Favourites again. Is Ronaldo still playing off the bench for United?
Has been, yeah.
Yeah, no news of movement for him?
No, I think, I wonder when the transfer window, I think it might have finished. I think
There'll be a mid-season one, wouldn't
there? There will be another. There will be, normally there's one in January.
Yeah.
So I think until then he might be locked in.
Yeah, okay.
Pretty sure. If my old FIFA playing days serve me well. And Monks, it's summer transfer window January. I'm pretty sure it's January. What I would like you to look up, if you wouldn't mind, is the Champions League, Los Champions, because they're halfway through the group stages now. So some groups starting to take shape, some definitely still wide open. If you wouldn't mind, maybe big screening that shit. What do I remember from the top of my head? Napoli had a massive win against Ajax. I think they put 6 in against Ajax, something like that. No, keep going. Here we go. All right, yes, Napoli. Napoli do lead that group ahead of Liverpool. Ajax and Rangers are gone. Group B, Club Brugge. This is an interesting group because you wouldn't expect Club Brugge, the Belgians, to be on top of this one. 6 points clear, so they're going through 100%. So it's going to be Porto, Leverkusen and Atletico fighting out for that second spot. They're in Group B. Group C, this kind of group of death and poor Victoria Plzeň. Did I say that right? Who knows? Plzeň is how I said it. They're from the Czech Republic. So it's going to be Bayern probably going through there, and then Inter and Barca fighting it out for second. Barca did beat Inter this week, so they're up shit creek if they lost that one. Group D is Sporting and Tottenham, Eintracht and Marseille. Marseille. That one is wide open. Group E, also wide open. Red Bull Salzburg, Chelsea, Milan, and Dinamo Zagreb, who beat Chelsea in the first round. So that one's still wide open. Group F, Real's going through. Confirmed they're going through. So it's going to be Shakhtar Donetsk. Absolute scenes with them still playing in the Champions League. They have been playing their home games in Poland, I do believe. Red Bull, Leipzig, and Celtic in that one. Group C, Man City goes through. Yuck. Benfica probably going to edge out Juventus to go through in that one too. So starting to take shape. Oh, Group H, of course, PSG in that one too. I think there's the second round of the fourth round, I should say, of Champions League games is middle of this week, I believe.
Haaland scored 5 goals as well
in Champions League. Yeah,
Champions League.
So 15,
to add to the total. 15
in the Premier League and 5 Champions Leagues. He's sitting on 20 plus whatever other bumhole competitions they've got.
Yeah,
Far cop. Does that get us to a final round? That's a final round.
Yes, into the final round. Yes,
the UFC final round. Ding ding.
Yeah, and not a lot to cover. It's been a bit of a quiet round.
The UFC,
2 weeks.
UFC at least. Yeah,
no fights today. Mm-hmm. The next big card, I think, still 2 weeks away.
280's 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah. So we'll preview that, of course, next week. So still a lot lot to come. not a lot happening recently. The big news probably with Aldo retiring after his loss, which I think we covered on the last podcast, which is unfortunate because he just, for me, didn't do enough in that fight, and maybe that was a bit of the writing on the wall. So, has retired as arguably the greatest featherweight of all time. Arguably. With the longevity of, I think he had that belt for 8 to 9 years as the champion. Defeated a who's who, and before he ran into Conor McGregor. So, and then went up and down divisions. So, it was an absolute legend in the UFC. And a bit of a fan favourite. So, sad to see him finish up and leave the UFC.
You know what I do like about this one? It seems like he's calling it at the right time.
Yes.
He's 36. He's coming off one loss. It's not like one of those ones where you're like, man, like this guy's got to, hang up the gloves at some stage because he's just getting bashed. Yeah, it
was just a fight that it was could have gone either way, but he didn't do enough to win it. So, it is what it is. And it was probably his last run at a potential belt. He needed to win that and then win probably another one, and he was in a title contention. To restart that and, probably have to have another 3 fights to try and get him conversation. Like you said, it's the right time to call it. So that's fair. And then the other big news for us, for the Australians, UFC 284 will take place in Perth in Australia. Looks like Volk will headline that. That'll be January for us, so in the new year. Volk most likely to headline, and Whittaker most likely to be on that card as well. Not sure how that must be. He'll have to be a number 1 title contender because I guess Israel's got his dance partner in Pereira sorted out, so they're going to sort that out. Not sure who Whittaker's going to take, but it's in Australia, so they're going to try and get all those guys on that card.
It's going to be the first time a UFC main event's been down under in 4 years.
Yep.
So
past COVID, etc., and past all that other stuff, and so it's about time.
It's actually bumming me out a little bit that it's in Perth. Yeah. Because of...
Well, I mean, before Poddy was saying we'd never been over to WA before. So.
True. Yeah. Those tickets are a bit expensive. The plane tickets, that is.
It's February 12. February 12. If it was February 12, 2024, I could probably be just talking about our personal travel plans on the internet. 280, should we? We'll obviously preview that.
We'll preview that
next week. But that's
huge card. Huge.
Yeah, Oliveira, Makachev, Sterling, Dillashaw, Peter Yarn, Sean O'Malley. That'll be sick, amongst others. So we'll preview that properly next week. And then there is a fight night next week, but not many big names on that.
Club Swanson's probably the biggest of that.
Yep. Yeah. He'd be getting on, Cub Swanson, wouldn't he?
Oh, definitely.
38.
So, not a lot in UFC, not a lot in the boxing world either, besides the Australian card that we mentioned in the Shout of Beers.
Nikita.
Outside of that, not a lot happening currently. I think guys getting dance partners is probably the main thing. Things getting booked. So we'll have to see what that looks like going forward. Finish with the Broom Brooms. Well, if we go... So Bathurst is ongoing at the moment for the Australian fans, the biggest race in Australia. About 40 laps to go, and they've just restarted from probably the 1,000th safety car they've had. Looks like an absolute wall. The speed tape's been used to great effect or the race tape in that one. And the Japanese Grand Prix got underway. Colour signs span out into the wall safety car, and they've red flagged that race, so it hasn't restarted. It's a bit wet there, unfortunately. Very impressive with Max to hang it out the outside to keep Leclerc at bay, in the wet as well to maintain that. But we've already lost, as mentioned, Science. Alex Albon, I think, span out as well. I think he's done. Vettel span out, but I think he's all right. And then I saw maybe Stroll or maybe it was Alonso. One of the two. No, it wasn't Alonso. I think it was Stroll had a side barrier on the front of his car, but I think he also okay. But they've red flagged the race, and it looks like they're having conversations about whether this race will restart, which is unfortunate because Japan's one of the better race tracks in the world.
It is heaving rain.
Yeah. So there'll be, I can see, looks like on that radar behind his head, a lot of rain there too. So they'll be watching that and see what happens. Otherwise, news, Gasly's official to Alpine, which then freed up the spot at AlphaTauri for Nick De Villiers to go over there. And then Ricciardo last night confirmed that he's not going to be on the grid next year with those two spots being taken up, and leaves only Haas as the only open spot. So it also could mean no Mick Schumacher as well next season. I think for Ricciardo, it makes sense in the case of his deal because he got the 20 mil or whatever it was to leave McLaren.
Yep.
But I think if he'd taken another deal elsewhere, it would have been subtracted out of for McLaren. Maybe McLaren didn't have to pay anymore, but he'd get more money. So I think it makes sense. Like he could.
So he can take a year off and
take a year of do nothing, or he can go race elsewhere. Chat, you could walk into IndyCar, and considering we talked about Will Power won that. Scott McLaughlin, Scott McLaughlin, and Rosen Grosjean were competing in that last race for the championship. Ricciardo could walk into IndyCar and win that competition next year, kind of thing. He has that amount of talent as a race driver. But yeah, could take a year off and then see what it looks like. Do a sabbatical like Alonso did, and see what opens up.
Yeah, I think for him, like he's mentioned before, that he doesn't want to race anything else other than F1.
Yeah.
So, he could just take a year off.
But he could do a fun tour.
Reserve seat behind Mercedes.
I think because he's huge in America, he could, like I said, walk into IndyCar. You could walk into NASCAR as well. I could think he could do some fun races, maybe a co-driver or something like at a big race. Go racing Bathurst next year.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, be a co-driver.
Casual rev heads like myself.
Yeah, because they've got two drivers. The minimum I
would it be
three.
a money thing though? Financially, it's probably.
But again, it's like he's getting paid 20 mil to do nothing. So like as I'm saying, have a fun
race
year.
For free.
Go do those races that are fun that not a lot of dudes will be able to do. Like there's Le Mans, like the 24-hour Le Mans. Fuck, just throw your name in those rings and just drive, just have fun. But who knows? We'll see. But it'll be unfortunate. No Vettel next year, no Ricciardo, no Schumacher potentially.
Bit of a changing of the guard.
Have to see what. At least there'll be one Australian. We'll have Oscar still out there for the Australian fans in the GP. So, yeah.
Just going over some of his numbers there, Danny Rick. Never won one of those elusive F1 Drivers' Championships, but very hard to do. But did have 8 wins, 32 podiums, which is pretty impressive. Anything else there of note? His last win last year, the Italian Grand Prix. First win back in 2014 in Canada. So, congrats on a stellar career. Will be missed by Australian F1 fans sorely. But yeah, like you said,
hopefully only short-lived.
Hopefully we're back and we could get maybe a couple Australians.
Yeah,
because I think
who's Piastri driving for next year?
McLaren. He's taking Ricardo's spot.
So that was direct swap.
Yeah.
And then who's the other kid? Jack
Doohan.
Yeah.
Of Mick Doohan's son, who won multiple MotoGPs. So he, I think, is going to be the reserve driver for Alpine from, if my memory serves me correct. But yeah, it's again, we'll see what happens in that space. A bit of chat about cost cap. Max Verstappen could potentially win the World Championship this year in this race if it happens. If it's a shortened race, maybe they'll have to prolong it another race weekend, but we'll see. But the cost cap, they agreed to 140 million. Is it dollars or pounds? I can't remember. Across the teams,
a lot of dollars.
A lot of money.
A lot of money. But they've all the teams agreed to they'd spend that much. Rumors that Red Bull might have spent too much money. The question is how much, because their potential loss of championships if it was exceeded significantly. So whether that's Max Verstappen's last year's championship or whether it means he's out of the running for this year's championships, who knows? They're going to announce, I think, that result on Monday. But I think the latest rumours was it was potentially small money over. So thousands of dollars, not millions. So
just chump change.
Yes. Yeah.
Of course.
So that was probably the only other big news from Motorsport Bathurst. Shane Van Gisbergen in the lead with 2-second lead there with, what's that, 34 to go.
34.
I don't
Your
think,
eyes did well there. I'm surprised you got that.
He made it big for me. I don't think they'll do another driver's change. That'll be unreal for SVG to get a win there. Maybe have to do tyres again beforehand and a petrol stop. Likelihood for safety cars has been carnage. Safety cars with a bit of rain as well in Bathurst. I was looking for the 888. Lowndes at 9 is probably too far away. The ageless Craig Lowndes getting a win there would be nice. But yeah, it looks like 4 Holdens in the front, followed by the 4 Mustangs. What's the top 8? Let's go to Lowndes, covered by 10 seconds. So that's close.
Van Gisbergen has won it in 2020, hey? So it'll be second time for him.
Second time, yeah.
How many's Lowndes won?
6 or 7.
The old control. Oh, wow. He's fucking. Got to read the whole history. Here we go. 96, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2010, 2015, 2018, 7.
Yeah.
I think that equaled Brock's record as well.
He's 48.
Yeah.
Holy dooly.
He's like retired from supercars, but he gets a run in Bathurst. He's one of those blokes. He turns up for the one. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, he's been retired for and same like Greg Murphy, same like a bunch of they've retired from the active supercar racing week in, week out. But coincidence is, like I said, the big endurance race, they have co-drivers in this. They show up for one of the biggest races of the year.
Like winning a golf major, you can come back for fucking eternity.
Yeah. So Craig
unless you join Live, then you get blacklisted.
True. So Craig Lowndes is the main driver, not the co-driver in this. Ooh, and it looks like some F1 drivers getting in F1 cars. So maybe we'll see.
Yeah, I think
resumption.
A rolling start.
Rolling start in how many minutes?
Has to be soon.
Yeah, well, they're getting back in the cars, so I'd say probably 5 o'clock, our time in 20 minutes. They will restart the Japanese Grand Prix.
That's it.
And that's motor racing.
Yeah. Actually, one last thing. Zach Brown, CEO of McLaren, is actually at Bathurst this week, following his, following whichever team he owns in Bathurst.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I know Toto Wolff's not in Japan either with Mercedes, so a few of the big name team principals not on the grid this weekend.
Yeah, right.
Fun times. Always good to be back podcasting, boys, after a few weeks off. Thank you to anyone that's listened. Thank you, Ricken, for your insights as usual. Hope you have a good week. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts from, we will be back, I think, with pretty much regular programming now.
Not next week.
Okay. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time.
2 weeks' time, yeah.
He'll be back at some time.
At some time to talk some dribble and keep podcasting. Episode 100 is coming up soon, boys.
Slow down a little bit, so it's but it'll be this year. It'll be this year.
It will definitely be this year.
We'll get it done.
We should do something for it. I don't know.
We'll be back for some World Cup action.
Yeah, how good.
Yeah.
We got two World Cups starting in the imminent future, and then obviously the FIFA World Cup after that. Yeah, our poor wives, the footy finishes. Do we get a little bit of relief? Well, no. The NFL season's going. Cricket's here.
Yep.
I was going to say it's around the corner, but it is here. And then, a bunch of World Cups to talk about. So, good times. Good times to be had here on the Esky. Righto, boys.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks for that.
Welcome to the Marriage/Divorce Club, monks. Catch ya.
We'll see how we go.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.